Dual Cultivation audiobook by Kevin Chapter 426 Mirror of Darkness. Once they reached their destinations, Ku commanded the flying ship to descend. The portal is in the middle of nowhere. Su Yang looked below him as they descended, and the only thing in his view were dry trees and dead soil without a spot of green even in the horizons. This is the environment for the majority of the southern continent, with half of the population living in a barbaric lifestyle, Ku said to him, as she has traversed this continent more than once. As they got closer to the ground, Su Yang could see many figures standing below with their gaze towards the flying ship. There were around 50 people, and all of them were females with a tan complexion. They are from a tribe that has a settlement around here. The portal is also in their territory. I only got to know them a little bit, so I don't know much. Su Yang nodded. Once they landed, all of the people waiting below approached their flying ship before kowtowing on the ground. "Welcome back, goddess," they all chanted in a respectful tone. "Goddess." Su Yang and Hong Yuer turned to look at Kityu with a weird face, who was blushing right now. I can explain this kind of." Kityu quickly spoke in a flustered manner. "I don't know why, but they started calling me that when I first showed up, and I didn't bother to correct them. Calling you a goddess isn't wrong since you are from the sacred moon temple." Su Yang spoke with a smile. "Anyway, where is the portal?" When Su Yang spoke so casually to Kityu, the people there looked at him with shock. In fact, all of the people there were glaring at him with a dazed expression. It was almost like they have never seen a man before. "What's with them?" Hong Yuer raised an eyebrow. "They're looking at you like they want to eat you. Because they live mostly in isolation, they don't see guests often. Most importantly, almost everybody living in the southern region has a tanned body, so our jade-like skin is a rarity, especially in these areas." Furthermore, Kityu looked at Su Yang's handsome face and charming appearance. He would attract attention no matter where he went and what he was doing, especially with the females. A few moments later, Kityu led the two of them to the portal, and the group of natives followed behind them. "This is the portal." Su Yang looked at the portal that was shaped like a large mirror before him. It was a silver mirror that was slightly larger than his own size, but instead of glass in the middle, it was pure darkness. "What do you think, Lingxi?" Su Yang asked her after examining the portal for a moment. Hong Yuer nodded and said, "Although only slightly, I can, without a doubt, sense spiritual energy belonging to the four divine heavens coming from it." Su Yang nodded. "Now we just have to figure out its origins and how safe it is." Just as he said those words, the portal began trembling. What's happening?" Kityu asked. "I don't know, but it doesn't feel right," Su Yang said as he quickly distanced himself from it. A few seconds later, the mirror began twisting and bending, almost as though it was being eaten by space itself. And right before their very eyes, the mirror disappeared into thin air. What just happened? Where did the portal go? Kityu was baffled by the sudden situation. "Goddess, if I may." One of the natives suddenly started speaking. "The portal the goddess is referring to is called the Mirror of Darkness, and it appears once every 2 years and only for a few hours before it disappears again." "Impossible, so we have to wait another 2 years before it appears again." Kityu was dumbfounded. "I'm afraid so," the native nodded her head. "Tell me more about this Mirror of Darkness." Su Yang suddenly approached her and said, "What is the mirror's origin?" Why yes." The native suddenly began blushing with fidgeting movements. "Although we do not know when it first appeared, it was first discovered 500 years ago. It would appear once every 2 years for a few hours before it disappears, and it has followed this routine every time for the past 500 years. Do you know where it leads?" Su Yang continued asking. "No," the native quickly shook her head. "Thousands of people from different tribes over the years have entered the Mirror of Darkness, but nobody has returned to this day. Though some people speculate that the Mirror of Darkness leads to the other side of the universe, and there are others who believe there is no destination and only death awaits for those who enter the darkness. I see. Thank you. Su Yang nodded and continued. Although it's unfortunate that we have to wait another 2 years before the mirror of darkness reappears, at least we have a clue now. For now, we should try to learn as much as we can regarding the portal in this place. Yu nodded. Hey, darling, Hong Yuer suddenly said. I will have to return to my original body in half a year. If you do not return after 2 years, I will use all of my resources to try and find this place so I can bring you back. If you think the portal is too dangerous, I will organize the search party as soon as I return. Su Yang nodded. Thank you, but until I learn more about this mirror of darkness, I won't try and return recklessly. I will take my time with this. After all, my biggest concern and reason to return has already been solved. You mean the Usra god clan fighting the heavenly emperor? Su Yang shook his head and said with a smile, No, I was worried about you. Darling. Hearing such words, Hong Yuer couldn't help but blush and tear up slightly. Yu watched them with a solemn expression, feeling envious of their relationship. A moment later, Su Yang turned to look at the natives that were silently watching them from a distance and said, If you don't mind, can you tell us more about this place and anything related to the mirror of darkness? The natives looked at each other before one of them stepped forward and bowed. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask us. Su Yang nodded and said, For starters, why don't we change the location? Then allow us to guide you back to our settlement, said the native girl. Chapter 427 Boer Tribe Settlement. As Su Yang's group followed the natives to their settlement, Su Yang asked one of them, I have been wanting to ask, but why do you keep addressing her as your goddess? He said while pointing to Yu, who immediately began blushing again. The natives looked at him and spoke with a serious expression. The goddess descended from the heavens one day, and her appearance is exactly as described in the legend: silver hair and eyes with a pure complexion. Legend? What legend? Legend has it that an immortal would descend from heaven to defend the Boer tribe during times of crisis. And just as the legend had predicted, the goddess descended from the heavens and defended us from our nemesis, the tiger tribe, when they wanted to raid our settlement, said the native girl. Su Yang turned to look at Yu, who shrugged. I only stopped by this place to ask them about the mirror of darkness, but due to mere coincidences, another tribe showed up to cause trouble during our conversation, so I chased them away. Anyway, stop addressing me as your goddess, Yu said to the natives. But the legend, the natives showed a perplexed look. I don't care about your legend, I am not your goddess. The natives exchanged perplexed gazes with each other again. A few moments later, one of them spoke. Then are we allowed to address you as our savior? Although it still sounds a bit cringy, it's better than being called a goddess. Yu nodded. Yes, savior. The natives bowed to her with grateful expressions. Sometime later, they arrived at the native settlement. The settlement was surrounded by wooden barricades with around 100 living quarters made of mostly wood and leather inside. Welcome to our Boer tribe settlement, esteemed guests, the natives said to them once they arrived. The goddess has returned. One of the natives standing guard by the entrance suddenly shouted after seeing them, and almost immediately afterward, the people living inside the settlement could be seen running out of their homes. A few moments later, around 300 people gathered by the entrance and kowtowed towards Yu. The old and the young, even the injured, they were all present to greet Yu. Welcome back, goddess, they all shouted in unison. How grand! Su Yang showed a smile. Ahem. Yu cleared her throat loudly before speaking. I have already said this to a few of you, but stop treating me as though I am your goddess. The natives exchanged puzzled glances with each other, so the people that have been following Su Yang's group explained to the ignorant natives of the situation. The goddess wishes to be addressed in another manner, so we will be calling her our savior starting now." "Oh, I see." The natives quickly understood the situation. "By the way, those two individuals following Goddess our Savior are," one of them asked. "I don't know their relationship with our Savior, but they appear to be quite intimate with each other, so treat them as if you are treating our Savior." "I understand." A few moments later, one of the natives approached Kyu. "Welcome to our Boer tribe, Savior and her esteemed friends. I am the chief of this tribe, Xianxia," said the native girl who appeared to be at the same age as Su Yang and Hong Yuer. "It is a pleasure and honor to have your presence bless this unworthy place." "You are quite young to be a chief," Hong Yuer said as she glanced at her tanned body, seemingly probing her. "The previous chief, my father, passed away recently, and until we appoint a new chief, I will be the acting chief," said Xianxia. "Please come inside." A few minutes later, Xianxia brought Su Yang and his group to a large hut and served them tea. "I have already received word from the others that you would like to know more about the Mirror of Darkness," Xianxia said to them as she retrieved a few ancient-looking scrolls. "This is all of the information we have on the Mirror of Darkness, going back to 500 years ago when it was first discovered." "Thank you," Su Yang said as he accepted the scrolls in her hand. When Su Yang went to grab the scrolls, his fingers accidentally touched Xianxia's hand, causing her to instantly react. I apologize for touching you so suddenly." Xianxia suddenly lowered her head to him. Slightly surprised by her overreaction, Su Yang waved his hand and said, "You don't have to be so nervous. It's not like you'll dirty me by touching me." He then reached out and gently grabbed her hands and continued with a handsome smile on his face, "See, I don't mind it." Xianxia's entire face flushed with redness as she stared at his large hands that was holding her own. There he goes again," Hong Yuer shook her head. Kyu looked at her with a puzzled look. "You're not aware. He's always unconsciously charming girls with his actions. Because of his character, he's always attracting attention even if it wasn't his intention. It was like this even in the four divine heavens. I guess even reincarnation cannot change an individual's nature, huh?" Kyu looked at Su Yang. Why didn't she notice this before? Indeed, it was as though he has the ability to instinctively charm females. I will be right back," Xianxia suddenly said before rushing outside the hut. "You made her run away, darling," Hong Yuer chuckled afterward. Su Yang was speechless. He didn't expect the people here to be so bashful. After all, most people living in these types of environments are usually not as bashful. In fact, they are mostly bold and courageous people. Anyway, let's see what kind of information they have on the Mirror of Darkness after 500 years of research," Su Yang said as he tossed a few of the scrolls to them before they began reading chapter 428 Boer Tribes Hunters. After spending many minutes going through the scrolls, Tang Lingxi placed the scroll in her hand down and sighed. What a waste of time. 500 years of research and all they got are speculations. I didn't expect much, but to think it had nothing. Kyu also shook her head. "I don't blame them for not comprehending something that is beyond their understanding," said Su Yang. A few minutes later, Xianxia entered the hut and said, "Esteemed guests, our hunters have returned from their trip and they have brought back spiritual meat. Would you like to join our feast tonight?" "Spiritual meat, huh?" Su Yang raised his eyebrow. The meat of powerful spiritual beasts is often treated as a delicacy in the cultivation world, as they provide cultivators with spiritual energy, allowing them to become stronger just by eating. However, for the Boer tribe, spiritual meat is akin to a normal meal as they hunt beasts for a living. "If you don't mind having me, I would like to join this feast." Su Yang nodded. He wanted to experience for himself the spiritual food in this type of place. "I will join too," Kyu said. "Great." Xianxia immediately showed enthusiasm and spoke in a delighted tone. "We will not disappoint you. By the way, were the scrolls of any help? She continued. Unfortunately, no. Su Yang shook his head. That, I am sorry for not being more useful. She quickly became dejected. Don't worry about it. A few moments later, Qin Liangyu led them outside. Once they were outside, they were able to see about 50 to 60 extremely bulky men standing by the entrance, with half of them carrying the corpses of spiritual beasts, and most of them were emitting an aura at the earth spirit realm, with a few being at the heavenly spirit realm. I have already realized this, but the people here, their cultivation base, is quite impressive for people living in this condition, Su Yang said. Even most of the females here are at the true spirit realm. Ku nodded and said, their dangerous lifestyle requires them to hunt for spiritual beasts almost every day, and they eat spirit meat almost every meal, so it's not weird for them to have such cultivation bases. In fact, compared to the eastern continent, the southern continent is simply stronger overall. Meanwhile, the native men also noticed Su Yang and his group. Who are those three standing over there? Their skin is as pale as ghost. One of them asked with a shocked expression, his gaze at the two beauties by Su Yang's side. It was not just one of them. All of the men there were staring at Qiyu and Tang Lingxi with their eyes wide with disbelief, almost like this is their first time seeing women as beautiful as the two. And because they had been hunting outside when Qiyu arrived, they are not aware of their existence. They are our esteemed guests, especially the one with the silver hair and eyes. She's the goddess from the legend. Even though she does not want to admit it, if not for her, the tiger tribe would have destroyed this place and made us their slaves, said one of the girls. What? Those tiger bastards attacked us. The men were outraged upon hearing this news. Unacceptable. This is a declaration of war against our Boer tribe. Why would they suddenly attack us after over a decade of peace? One of them pondered loudly. It must be the dragon tribe. They have been getting along with each other recently. Maybe they think they can rule us because they have the dragon tribe's backing now. The audacity. If it's war they want, it's war they'll get. The native men began shouting with war screams, causing the air to shake. Hey, stop screaming like savages. Qin Liangyu suddenly approached them and spoke. You guys are bothering our esteemed guests. Chief Qin. The native men instantly stopped shouting and bowed to her with respect. Now drop the meat and pay respect to our savior and esteemed guests. Qin Liangyu was emitting a different aura at this moment, looking nothing like the bashful female just a few minutes ago. Yes, Chief. All of the native men dropped their meat and weapons before approaching Su Yang and his group. We the boar hunters pay respects to the goddess and esteemed guests. They bowed to them. Thank you for saving our boar tribe. If not for you, the tiger tribe would have burned this whole place down and kidnapped our people. Don't call me your goddess. Qiyu deeply frowned. We deeply apologize if we offended you as savior. The natives immediately began sweating when they felt the immense aura coming from Qiyu. They have fought countless dangerous spiritual beasts in their life, but this is the first time they have felt true fear. It was almost like they were before the god of death. Forget it. Qiyu sighed. Sometime later, the Boer tribe began setting up for the festival. During this time, Qin Liangyu approached Su Yang and asked him, Esteemed guest, do you need anything right now? Su Yang pondered for a moment before saying, Actually, I do. And he continued, My name is Su Yang. I will feel more comfortable if you can start calling me that from now on. But you are the saviors. Qin Liangyu hesitated. Su Yang didn't say anything else and only showed her a gentle smile. Qin Liangyu suddenly turned silent. A short moment later, she nodded with a bashful smile. Thank you, he said and continued. Anyway, tell me more about your tribe. I am quite interested in how this place functions, as I am from a very distant place. Qin Liangyu nodded and proceeded to explain to him the Boer tribe's lifestyle. As you can see, over 2/3 of our tribe's population is female. This is because of the men's duty to scavenge food outside while the female tends the houses and other necessities. And hunting spiritual beasts is a dangerous job no matter how strong you are. When the hunters leave, they usually don't come back any faster than 3 days, and tragedies tend to happen when you are living in this kind of environment. Resources and food are scarce in this place, hence why tribes tend to attack other tribes and steal their food. Our Boer tribe is one of the stronger tribes around this area, so we usually don't have to worry about being attacked. However, the Tiger tribe, a slightly less powerful tribe, has been getting friendly with the Dragon tribe, another powerful tribe around here. Since the hunters were unavailable at that time, if not for the savior, the Tiger tribe would have already destroyed and looted this place, and the rest of us would be treated as slaves in their settlement. I see, Su Yang nodded. A few moments later, he asked, "Why don't you leave some of your warriors behind? It isn't wise to leave your entire settlement vulnerable every time you have to hunt for food, after all." Of course, we normally don't send all of our warriors to hunt. However, the wilderness has been getting even more dangerous recently, and if we don't send everyone, our casualties will double, even triple. We can't afford to lose any more warriors, too. Qin Liangyu sighed, feeling hopeless. Chapter 429, The Great Calamity. How many tribes are around this area? Su Yang asked her. There are 18 major tribes in this area and over 100 smaller tribes within 1,000 miles, said Qin Liangyu. And what position is the Boer tribe standing in? Although we've taken a hit to our numbers recently, we are no pushovers. The Boer tribe is currently the third strongest tribe among the 18 major tribes, with only the Spider tribe standing above us and the current overlords, the Dragon tribe, said Qin Liangyu. By the way, the Tiger tribe is ranked 4th directly below us. Su Yang nodded and said, "Perhaps we should visit these other tribes, to see if they have any more information on the Mirror of Darkness. If you plan to visit the other tribes, I can personally guide you there as an envoy." The Boer tribe has a good relationship with half of the major tribes and many of the smaller ones, said Qin Liangyu. Su Yang nodded. That'd be very helpful if you can. Just let me know when and where and I will immediately come with you. For now, just relax until the food is ready. The hunters are already cooking it and it will be ready in a few hours. I can't wait. Su Yang smiled, causing Qin Liangyu to blush. Meanwhile, a few hundred miles away in the Dragon tribe's territory, the Tiger tribe's chief, Chief Li, and the Dragon tribe's chief, Chief Long, are engaged in a serious conversation with each other. Are you serious? Chief Long looked at Chief Li with a serious expression. How certain are you about this? I am certain what we saw when we tried to raid the Boer tribe. Her silver hair and moon-like eyes, the goddess from the legend, was there, and she's the reason why we returned. Chief Li spoke loudly. The goddess from the legend. Chief Long closed his eyes and pondered for a good moment before continuing. According to the legend, the goddess first appeared a little over 1,000 years ago, and she protected the Boer tribe from total destruction during the Great Calamity, before disappearing into thin air and never to be seen again. Although her appearance was short, the influence and impact she left behind was massive. Of course, what she did on that day had shaken every tribe in this area. Chief Li said, "If this person is really the same as the goddess from the legend, we are no match for her even if both of our tribes attack together. In fact, she can probably defeat all of the tribes here by herself." Chief Long rubbed his temples. "Then what should we do? If she's really the goddess, we won't be able to continue with our plans to conquer every tribe, and our years of efforts will be worthless." Chief Li sighed. "Calm down. Although she may have a similar appearance, we don't know if she's really the goddess that appeared 1,000 years ago. Perhaps she only looks similar." Chief Long said and continued, "Anyway, we need to confirm her identity before we continue with our plans, or we're simply digging our own graves." "What do you suggest?" Chief Li asked. The dragon tribe can send a few envoys to improve our relationships, but it's only an excuse for us to buy us some time to verify this silver-haired girl's identity. Chief Long said. That sounds great. What should the tiger tribe do in the meantime? Because your raid had failed, the boar tribe will be extremely cautious of your every movement, so I advise you to remain low-key until I figure everything out. What if she turns out to be the real deal, the goddess that shook heaven and earth with a single fist? Chief Li asked. Then, we will halt our plans, unless you want your entire tribe to disappear at least until she leaves. Maybe she will disappear quietly again like previously. Chief Li nodded. Very well, then I will now prepare for our visit. Chief Long then left Chief Li alone and began gathering the envoys and a few other things. By the time the dragon tribe was prepared to leave for the boar tribe, the sky had long turned dark. You're going to give the boar tribe 20 servants and 500 pounds of spirit meat. That's quite generous for a mere visit. Chief Li spoke as he watched the dragon tribe's envoy and 20 young ladies and men leave for the boar tribe. We cannot risk offending the boar tribe if she turns out to be the real goddess. Furthermore, this is the dragon tribe's first time visiting them. We can't half-ass this. Chief Long said. At this moment, inside the boar tribe's settlement, the natives just finished cooking. Savior and esteemed guests, the food is ready. Qin Liangyu led them to the fire where over 100 pounds of meat were cooked. We have cooked 3 different spiritual beasts for the feast tonight. Earth spirit elephant, iron claw leopard, and 2-headed fierce tiger. Qin Liangyu said. All of them are powerful beasts at the heavenly spirit realm. Their meat is extremely tender and filled with spiritual energy, and their bones can be used in baths to temper one's body. Which one would you like to feast on first? We have enough for all, so you don't need to be humble. I will trust your taste, so pick for me, Chief Qin, Su Yang said with a smile. I understand. Qin Liangyu nodded. What about the savior? And she looked at Qiyu and Tang Lingxi. Give me whatever he's having. Qiyu casually said. Me too. Tang Lingxi followed. A few moments later, Su Yang sat by a large campfire with his food and began eating. As expected of the meat from a heavenly spirit realm beast, just one bite and I can feel my cultivation base increase slightly, Su Yang said. Although it cannot be compared to the food I am used to eating, it is definitely impressive for this world's standard. Tang Lingxi nodded with approval. This is some of the best food I've had in years, Qiyu said with an impressed expression. I should have stayed a little longer the last time I was here. You have been to this place before, Su Yang raised an eyebrow. Qiyu nodded and said, it was only briefly, but I passed through this place a few hundred years ago. Chapter 430, The 10 Families and 4 Supreme Clan a few hundred years ago. That's quite long ago. Su Yang raised an eyebrow. Qiyu nodded and said, at that time, I was still passionate about increasing my cultivation, so I traveled the world in search of resources and strong beasts. That's when I came across this place, where I encountered a mysterious beast at the divine spirit realm, one of the strongest beings I have encountered so far. A divine spirit realm beast. Su Yang's eyes widened. Forget about a few hundred years ago, where cultivation is not as advanced as today. He could easily imagine what would happen to this world if that kind of monster roamed this place now. The mysterious beast wreaked havoc in this place since nobody had the ability to stop it at that time, and it would remain that way even today if I did not slay it. Qiyu continued. Even though I was 2 entire realms above the mysterious beast, it was not an easy fight. If I didn't kill the beast at that time, I cannot imagine what would have happened to the people here. Perhaps there wouldn't even be anybody alive today. A mysterious beast, huh? Su Yang pondered. Sometime later, when there were no longer any more meat to serve, the feast ended and Qin Liangyu approached Su Yang's group. How was the food, esteemed guests? She asked them. It was amazing. Su Yang smiled at her and continued. I can almost break through after eating so much spiritual meat. That's great to hear, By the way, it's getting late. If you don't have anywhere to stay tonight, I will immediately arrange for it. Qin Liangyu said. Thank you for the hospitality, but I will be resting on my flying boat. There's also enough room for all three of us, Yu said. I see, Qin Liangyu nodded. Then, if you need anything, just let one of us know and I'll immediately arrange for it. I want to visit a few tribes tomorrow and see if they have any information on the Mirror of Darkness, Su Yang suddenly said. Will you be ready by then? There's no problem, Senior Su. Even if you wish to leave now, I will be ready to be our envoy. Great. Then I will see you tomorrow morning. After the feast, Su Yang and his group returned to the enormous flying boat that was stationed above the Boers tribe, giving the natives a profound feeling of security, almost like they were being protected by immortals. In fact, before the natives went to sleep, they all kowtowed to the flying ship and prayed for their protection. I didn't get the chance to say this at the tournament, but that is the first time I have ever defeated you in a match, Su Yang said as he laid on the top of the flying ship, staring at the bright moon with a relaxed expression. HMPH. Tang Lingxi snorted beside him and said, You only won because my body is not as strong as yours, limiting my choices in techniques. If I had a few more months to cultivate, I would have tempered my body and be able to use some of my clan's technique. The Usra God clan's princess is making excuses. You don't get to see that often, Su Yang chuckled. Tang Lingxi turned silent. A few moments later, she turned to look at him and asked, What do you plan on doing after you return to the four divine heavens? After a moment of silence, Su Yang spoke, To be completely honest, I don't have a clue what I am going to do once I return. Of course, I am going to have a deep discussion with the moon god regarding Yuihai's death and Kiyu's future, but I really don't know what I want to do afterward. Furthermore, I am a criminal that's supposed to be locked up inside the eternal retribution cliff. The heavenly emperor won't like it if he learns that I am actually alive and well. A lot of people suffered after your death, Su Yang. Even now, there are still many people in sorrow. I know because I was one of them, Tang Lingxi said. What are you going to do about them? I don't know. There were times where I wondered if it would be better for the world if I was dead, Su Yang sighed. You should know that I have a lot of enemies within the four divine heavens, and many people I love have died because of me. I know, but you have also saved many people. I was one of these people after all. If you didn't save me, who knows what would have happened to the Usra God clan on that day? Tang Lingxi said and continued, There's also your Su family. They were in quite some trouble after your death became public. Su Yang's eyes opened widely after hearing about his family, and he spoke in an anxious voice. What? Did something happen to them? Calm down, said Tang Lingxi. Although they were in trouble at first with multiple families trying to destroy the Su family entirely, an unknown master appeared to protect them. What? Who dared to attack my family after my death so shamelessly? Once I return, I will personally repay this debt. Su Yang's eyes flickered with anger. A few of the 10 families and one of the 4 supreme clans were in cahoots with each other. With such an overwhelming force, they could have easily destroyed the Su family. I will tell you more about them later. The 10 families and 4 supreme clans. Su Yang began sweating after hearing their names, as they are the strongest power in all 4 divine heavens. If even one of these powerhouses wanted to destroy a family or sect, they could do so with the snap of their fingers. Then who drove them away? Even the entire Usra God clan would have trouble with them, much less a single individual. Su Yang then asked. That's the thing. Nobody could identify this individual since he concealed his identity. The only thing we know about him is that he wielded an enormous sword the size of a star. It only took a single swing with that sword to scare away the people trying to harm the Su family. Afterward, this expert warned those who thought of harming the Su family that he would destroy their entire family if they tried to harm them again before disappearing. Of course, One of the 10 families ignored his warning and attacked the Su family again, only to be destroyed by this mysterious master in a single night. The incident had caused such a commotion that even the heavenly emperor himself was forced to act. An enormous sword the size of a star. Could it be? Su Yang had an idea about the identity of this mysterious master who saved his family. And ever since the incident, nobody dared to approach the Su family, much less attack them. Do you know the identity of this mysterious master, Su Yang? Tang Lingxi. He nodded. I have an idea, but I have promised this person that I would not reveal his identity to anyone. Tang Lingxi showed a disappointed expression. You can't even tell me your fiancé. Don't worry, you are bound to meet this person sooner or later, he said with a smile. Chapter 431 Senior Sister's Advice. Faith. Su Yang. I am going to cultivate in my room. If you're going to cultivate, you can use the other room. Qiyu suddenly appeared before them and said to him while looking at Tang Lingxi. Hearing her words, Tang Lingxi showed a smile and spoke. Fortunately for you, but unfortunately for me, I won't be cultivating with him, so you don't have to worry about that. Qiyu looked at her with a surprised face. And why wouldn't she cultivate with him? One would expect the two of them to embrace each other after being separated for so long, especially when they are lovers. Because this is not my body, said Tang Lingxi. As much as I want to undress him right now and have some fun with his body, I have made a promise with Hong Yuer that I would not do anything that would defile her body while I am borrowing her body. It's regrettable, but I will have to wait for you to return to the 4 divine heavens before we can do anything too passionate, she said to Su Yang, who calmly shook his head after hearing her words. It's fine. I am satisfied with just being able to speak with you again. Even if we cultivate right now, it won't feel the same since your current body won't be able to handle most of it anyway, said Su Yang. Qiyu said nothing else and disappeared into her room a few moments later. She calls you father. How cute. Tang Lingxi chuckled after Qiyu left. Well, I am something like a father figure to her, he said with a smile. The sacred moon temple is one of the most secluded places in the 4 divine heavens. It's a miracle that you were even allowed to visit that place, much less make love with the goddess of the moon, Yuihai. It was only pure coincidence that I found a technique that allowed people with special bloodlines to become even more powerful. If not for the technique, the sacred moon temple would not have even looked at me. After a moment of silence, Tang Lingxi spoke. Hey, darling. Are you planning on accepting Qiyu into our family? If that's what she wishes, I will gladly accept her. Su Yang nodded without hesitation. I shouldn't have asked a question with an obvious answer. Tang Lingxi shook her head and she continued. Then are you prepared to fight the sacred moon temple for her? You should know that they will never allow their special bloodline to leave their home, especially if she's Yuihai's daughter, whose bloodline is the purest of them all. Of course. Not only will I fight for Qiyu, but I will fight for everyone in the sacred moon temple. This curse that binds their fate, I will crush it with my own hands. Su Yang said while tightly gripping his hands into fists. Then when that time comes and you need help, the Usura God clan will gladly assist you. Tang Lingxi said. However, Su Yang shook his head and said, anything the Usura God clan is involved in, the heavenly emperor will take notice. I cannot have my existence revealed to him, at least not until I am confident that I can protect my family even with the heavenly emperor at my doorsteps. Furthermore, this is my own revenge. My wrath will not subdue unless I personally avenge Yuihai. How responsible of you. Tang Lingxi chuckled. Su Yang and Tang Lingxi continued to chat with each other for the remainder of the night. The following morning, Su Yang, Tang Lingxi, and Qiyu prepared to return to the Boer tribe's settlement. Hey, darling, Tang Lingxi called out to him before they left the flying ship. What is it? Just as Su Yang turned around, Tang Lingxi took a step towards him and gave him a gentle kiss on the cheeks. Since we cannot cultivate now, this will have to suffice, she said with a smile. Kyu was speechless. Her image of the Usra god clan was quickly crumbling right before her eyes. In her mind, the Usra god clan is a place filled with criminals that will do anything they can to offend the heavenly emperor, and even defy heaven itself. Hell, even though she has never met Tang Lingxi before coming here, she has heard plenty of terrifying stories about her. However, this exact Tang Lingxi, who is supposedly the princess of such a vicious clan and one of the most dangerous individuals in the four divine heavens, is acting no different than any ordinary caring wife right now. If you're jealous, why don't you kiss him too? Seeing Kyu stare at her with wide eyes, Tang Lingxi said to her with a teasing voice. I don't know what you're talking about. Kyu's face quickly flushed before she turned around and began walking away. Were people from the Sacred Moon clan always this bashful? All of the ones I have met that came from that place are always acting haughty and prideful, Tang Lingxi said. She's definitely a special little princess, and you can thank her mother Yuehai for that, Su Yang said with a smile. Tang Lingxi chuckled before following Kyu. Hey Kyu, Tang Lingxi suddenly called for her after catching up. What is it, Senior Tang? Kyu spoke in a respectful tone. Senior Tang, you can drop the formality. Just call me Sister Lingxi. But Kyu immediately hesitated. No matter the circumstances, she was standing before one of the most powerful figures in the four divine heavens, and she did not dare to show even the slightest disrespect to Tang Lingxi. Su Yang told me about your relationship last night, so it's not an exaggeration to say that we belong to the same family now, Tang Lingxi said. Although we are still engaged, I consider us husband and wife already, and you should do the same. That's a little. Kyu was dumbfounded. Why is Tang Lingxi telling her all of this? You should also stop acting so bashful. If you continue acting like that, you will never beat the other girls. The other girls? Kyu lifted an eyebrow, looking puzzled. Why would she need to defeat other girls? I don't know what you know about Su Yang, but you clearly don't know very much about him. If you are serious about following him forever, you will need to prepare yourself in the future when the two of you return to the four divine heavens. Tang Lingxi said to her with a mysterious smile. The two of you are in a very peculiar situation right now, and if you don't take advantage of your time with him right now, you will deeply regret not spending more time with him once you leave this place with him. This is my first advice for you as your senior sister, and it won't be the last. Kyu was speechless, as she couldn't fully comprehend Tang Lingxi's words that sounded almost like a warning. I will regret not spending time with him. Why would she say something like that? Kyu pondered as they approached the Boar Tribe Settlement Chapter 432. Dragon Tribe's Envoy. Welcome back, esteemed guests. I hope you all had a pleasant rest last night. One of the natives greeted them by the entrance gates. Chem, where's your chief? Kyu asked her. The native suddenly showed signs of nervousness and spoke. The chief, she's currently in a meeting with an envoy from the Dragon Tribe that had recently arrived. Oh. The Dragon Tribe is here. Aren't they friendly with the Tiger Tribe who tried to attack this place not long ago? Su Yang was intrigued by the purpose of their visit. I also don't know the purpose of their visit. The native girl shook her head. However, they have been inside for a while now, so they should be out very soon. Just as the native girl said that, Qin Tianjiu walked out from one of the larger huts with a perplexed expression on her face. Then she noticed Su Yang and the group standing by the entrance, which immediately brought a smile onto her face. Senior Su, Qin Liangyu quickly ran towards them. You have arrived at the perfect time. The Dragon Tribe they are here right now, right? Su Yang interrupted. Why yes, that's right. Qin Liangyu nodded. An envoy from the Dragon Tribe has arrived not long ago, and they brought along a few gifts. Qin Liangyu then pointed at the 20 figures standing beside a large cart of spiritual meat and continued to speak. 20 servants, 10 young men for labor and 10 young maidens for our warriors to enjoy themselves, and finally, 500 pounds of spiritual meat. Su Yang's eyes narrowed upon hearing such words. How unpleasant, he mumbled a moment later. Excuse me. Qin Liangyu showed a dumbfounded expression. Is there something bothering Senior Su? I don't know how the tribes here operate, but treating humans as though they are farm animals. It's not something I like to see, Su Yang said. Qin Liangyu quickly understood why Su Yang was not happy and immediately began explaining. When a tribe defeats another tribe, the winners are allowed to take anything they want from the losers. Whether it be their food or their people, the losers cannot resist, as that will often lead to the annihilation of their tribe. In most cases, the males will be forced into labor and the females will be used to increase the tribe's population. That's most likely their situation right now. However, Su Yang shook his head and said, "It's not as though I don't understand. I have been to many places with a similar system lifestyle and I am only a guest here. Therefore, you don't have to mind me. I was only speaking out loud." Qin Liangyu became speechless. Even though Su Yang said to ignore him, she couldn't possibly allow something that is clearly making it unpleasant for their esteemed guest to exist. A few moments later, Qin Liangyu called for one of their own people and said, "The 20 people brought here by the dragon tribe, they are now a part of our boar tribe, and not as servants but as a family. I want you to arrange it right now." The girl standing before Qin Liangyu was puzzled. Why should they accept these strangers brought to them by their enemies into their family? What would they gain by doing such a thing? I do not want to repeat myself. Get it done. Qin Liangyu narrowed her eyes, causing the girl to shudder. "All right away, Chief Qin." As the native girl scurried away, Su Yang spoke. "Like I'd said, you don't need to mind me. I am merely here as a guest. You don't need to do something that may inconvenience your entire tribe just for me." Qin Liangyu shook her head and said, "I understand that, but as the chief, I cannot allow my guests to feel uncomfortable when they are in our settlement, especially esteemed guests such as yourselves. By the way, I should have said this in the beginning, but the dragon tribe's envoy, he specifically asked to meet the goddess," she suddenly said as she looked at Keiyu. "Hm, why would the dragon tribe have any business with me?" Keiyu raised an eyebrow. "I don't know anything besides that he'd requested for an audience with you." Qin Liangyu shook her head. Keiyu turned to look at Su Yang, who nodded. "Very well, let's see what this envoy wants from me." Qin Liangyu then led them to the hut she left from just a few minutes ago. The moment they entered the hut, Su Yang could see two individuals staring at them. One of them was a warrior from the Boer tribe. He had a robust body and fierce appearance, whilst the other individual in the room was an old man with a skinny body. However, despite his fragile-looking appearance, his aura emitted a fearsome aura that surpassed everybody within the Boer tribe settlement. He was an expert at the sovereign spirit realm. Of course, Su Yang was able to sense his powerful presence even before he reached the Boer tribe settlement, so he was not surprised to see this expert here. However, what intrigued him was the fact that the dragon tribe had sent someone at the sovereign spirit realm, an existence considered to be the peak of cultivation in this world, to this place as a mere envoy. Who are these young ones? Although they have some shocking potential, I came here today for the goddess, said the old man when he only saw Su Yang and Tang Lingxi enter the room. These two are with me, or do you have a problem with that? Keiyu spoke as she entered the room last. Why, you are. The old man's eyes widened with shock when he saw Keiyu. Although it was something that happened hundreds of years ago, it only took him a single glance at this beauty, and her otherworldly aura for him to be convinced that she was the same goddess that he'd personally witnessed slay the great calamity 1,000 years ago. Chapter 433, A Dreadful Aura G-Goddess. This lowly one greets the goddess. The sovereign spirit realm expert instantly kowtowed on the floor after seeing Keiyu. 1,000 years ago, when he was but a young man, he had the grand opportunity to witness Qiyu slay the monster that was later known as the Great Calamity with his very own eyes. And ever since then, he was unable to forget Qiyu's godlike powers and divine beauty. Even though hundreds of years have passed, he could easily recognize Qiyu as the goddess that had slain the Great Calamity and saved the southern continent. I can't believe it. That after 1,000 years, I would have a second opportunity to bless my eyes with your graceful presence, goddess. Wow, he's saying some really embarrassing things about you without any shame, Qiyu, Tang Lingxi chuckled. Embarrassing? There is nothing shameful about showing respect to the goddess. And who do you think you are to address the goddess in such a manner? A mere junior at the heavenly spirit realm. The old man glared at Tang Lingxi with narrowed eyes. Ho! You think you are some big shot just because you are at the sovereign spirit realm. If I was in my original body, I could kill you without even lifting a single finger. Tang Lingxi also narrowed her eyes, causing the atmosphere in the room to change. This is. Qin Liangyu and the male warrior could feel a suffocating aura emitting from Tang Lingxi. It was one filled with dread and despair. They have never felt such a terrifying aura before, feeling like they were standing before a god of death. Even the sovereign spirit realm expert couldn't help but express surprise on his look after feeling this dreadful aura from Tang Lingxi. Calm down, Lingxi. Su Yang placed his hand on her shoulders and mumbled in a gentle voice. Sorry, darling. The way he looked at me was filled with disrespect and felt unpleasant, so I got a little angry. Tang Lingxi retracted the killing intent in her eyes and casually cleared her throat, dumbfounding the people there. Qiyu silently swallowed and said to herself inwardly, she's definitely from the Usura God clan, all right. You wanted to speak with me, right? Hurry up and say whatever you need. By the way, if you anger my senior sister again, I will become the one who will need to speak with you. Qiyu said to him with a cold expression. SS senior sister, allow this lowly one to offer his greatest apologies. The old man's eyes widened with shock and he began knocking his head on the ground after hearing her words, as he did not expect someone weaker than Qiyu to be her senior sister. Senior sister, huh? Meanwhile, Tang Lingxi looked at Qiyu with a smile on her face. Enough! Hurry up and speak. Feeling irritated by the old man's extreme reverence for her, Qiyu raised her voice. Why, yes. The old man quickly stood up and spoke. This lowly one came here as an envoy from the dragon tribe with the intent to invite the goddess to the dragon tribe as an esteemed guest. You want me to go to the dragon tribe? Why? Qiyu asked. Our Chief Long wishes to speak with you, the goddess. After a moment of silence, Qiyu spoke. If your chief really wants to speak with me, why didn't he come here with you? Yet you want to waste my time by making me go to him. Are you looking down on me? The old man began trembling after hearing her words and quickly responded, This is a misunderstanding, goddess. The chief is currently busy with another business and cannot step away from the tribe at this moment, and we weren't certain if the goddess was real or fake, or else he would have been here too. However, you need not to worry, goddess. This lowly one will immediately return and relay your message to our chief. Wait a second. Su Yang suddenly raised his voice. The people in the room turned to look at him with raised eyebrows. Qiyu, you should go to the dragon tribe and see if they have any information on the Mirror of Darkness. The Mirror of Darkness. Is the goddess seeking knowledge regarding that mirror? The old man asked. I am. Do you have any useful information? Why, yes. Although I cannot guarantee that we have answers to all of your questions, the dragon tribe has plenty of ancient scrolls regarding the Mirror of Darkness. Qiyu nodded a moment later and said, Su Yang, do you want to come with me to the dragon tribe? He shook his head. I will be heading to the other tribes with Chief Qin and Lingxi after we are done here. Is that so? Qiyu mumbled, sounding a bit disappointed. If you desire, we can leave now, goddess. The old man said to her. Qiyu nodded. Before they left, the old man said to Qin Liangyu, Chief Qin, do not forget about our matter. We will return at a later date to hear your decision." However, before she could even reply, the warrior that had been standing there in silence suddenly spoke out loud. "Of course, we will decline. That treasure has been with the Boar tribe for 1,000 years. There's absolutely no way that we would give it to anybody, not even to the Dragon tribe. I wasn't aware that I was speaking to you and not Chief Qin, young warrior." The old man scoffed and said, "And it's not like we are asking you to hand it over to us without any compensation. As long as it's at a reasonable price, we will buy it from you. Anyway, you have until next week to come to a decision, Chief Qin. Now I will excuse myself." The old man then left the hut, and Qiyu followed him a few seconds later. That old bastard," the native warrior growled in a low voice, his eyes filled with contempt and anger. "Calm down, Lebao," Chief Qin said to him. "But Chief, we simply cannot hand over the treasure." "Ha!" Qin Liangyu sighed and said, "I understand your frustration, but as much as I want to keep that treasure, we are not in the position to decline, as our tribe has been declining for a while now. If I don't make some tough decisions now, the entire Boar tribe will be suffering in the near future. This treasure," Su Yang suddenly spoke, "can you tell me more about it? Perhaps I can be of some help." "Senior Su, I think it would be easier to explain if I show you the treasure first," said Qin Liangyu. Chapter 434, Boar Tribe's Treasure. See Chief Qin, what are you thinking? Even if they are our esteemed guests, we cannot simply show our treasure to strangers. The warrior named Lebao pulled her to the side and said, "You idiot." Qin Liangyu suddenly slapped Lebao on the head, dumbfounding everyone in the room, and this was especially true for Lebao, who has never been hit by her before. "Did you not hear a word the Dragon tribe's envoy just said? Our savior is the real goddess, the one who had slain the great calamity when every tribe couldn't defeat it even when they came together. And our treasure originated from the great calamity, so it originally belongs to the goddess them." Hearing her words, Lebao became silent, almost like a puppy that just got scolded by their owner. "Please excuse our disgraceful behavior, Senior Su." Qin Lingyu apologized to them and continued, "I will now show you the treasure that was harvested from the great calamity." Su Yang nodded and followed her to the back of the hut, where there was a door in the middle of the room. "Hm." Su Yang raised an eyebrow after seeing this door that was nearly transparent. "That door is a formation. It's quite the powerful one too if you consider their situation." Tang Lingxi mumbled to Su Yang, "You can see the door too." Qin Liangyu looked at them with a surprised look and continued, "In this entire tribe, no, the entire southern region, I should be the only one who can see and open this door." "Well, if you know a thing or two about formations, anyone would be able to see it," Tang Lingxi said. "Impossible," Qin Liangyu mumbled in disbelief, as she believed that it was a hereditary kind of thing. "If you don't believe me, how about I open it for you?" Tang Lingxi suddenly said with a smile. "It will only take a moment too." Why, however, before Qin Liangyu could even say anything, Tang Lingxi took a step forward and stood before the door, silently staring at it. Qin Liangyu watched with a nervous feeling in her body. A moment of silence later, Tang Lingxi spoke in an authoritative tone. "Not even the Heavenly Emperor's goons dare to stand in my way, yet a mere formation created by an even inferior being dares to block my path. What is she doing?" As if that would open the formation, Qin Liangyu thought to herself inwardly. However, a moment later the transparent door reacted by trembling slightly. Although the movement was slight and almost unnoticeable, Qin Liangyu was shaken to the core by it. "I will give you 3 seconds to open, or I will destroy you." After saying those words, Tang Lingxi began counting. 1. The door trembled even more. 2. On the count of 2, the door surprisingly opened slightly, shocking Qin Liangyu, who could have never imagined that the formation guarding their tribe's most valuable treasure would open just because it was threatened by someone. 3. At the final count, the door flew open, almost like it had been forcefully opened by a kick. Once the door was open, the door began to disappear, before a portal appeared at where the door disappeared. See, it's actually quite simple. Tang Lingxi turned to Qin Liangyu and said with a smile. However, Su Yang shook his head and sighed. What do you gain with that little act of yours, Lingxi? What, an act? Qin Liangyu looked at them with a dazed look. Tang Lingxi chuckled and said, all that talking was just an act of distraction. The door opened because I saw through the formation and cracked it open, not because it was threatened by me. No way, Qin Liangyu was speechless. Anyway, hurry up and show me this treasure. I'm actually quite interested in it, Tang Lingxi said. All right, away, please follow me. Qin Liangyu nodded and led them into the portal, teleporting them to another place. Although this space inside the formation is very small, it's not bad considering it was by someone at the sovereign spirit realm. Su Yang thought to himself as he looked around the room that had no borders. In fact, they were surrounded by darkness with only some flickering lights in the background. It was almost like they were teleported into the starry sky. Here's the treasure, Senior Su. Qin Liangyu pointed at the large eyeball that was carefully positioned on a pole a few meters away from them. Oh, Su Yang raised his eyebrows with surprise after seeing this eyeball that was larger than a boulder. If he had to take a guess, this great calamity entity must have been thousands of meters tall. Darling, this is. Even Tang Lingxi held a serious expression after seeing the enormous eye. If I am correct, this thing that Ku killed came from the Dimension Rift. It's a Rift Demon. What? The Dimension Rift? Su Yang's eyes widened with shock. Why would a being from the Dimension Rift be in this place? And aren't Rift Demons incapable of leaving the Dimension Rift? Even if a Rift Demon somehow escaped the Dimension Rift, Ku should not have been able to kill it. Even ancient realm experts fear those things. Tang Lingxi then spoke. Not many people are aware of this since it rarely happens, but the Dimension Rift is only capable of preventing the strong Rift Demons from escaping. The Rift Demon that was slain by Ku was probably too weak, so it managed to escape the Dimension Rift somehow. If that's the case, then this thing probably came from the Mirror of Darkness, since the mirror is a portal of sorts, and all portals are connected to the Dimension Rift. Su Yang pondered. This is a great discovery. Now we are a step closer to unraveling the origin of the mirror, Tang Lingxi said. Dimension Rift, Rift Demons, what are those? Qin Liangyu was lost in their conversation, as she has never heard of those terms before today. Chapter 435 Rift Demons, S. Senior Su. How much do you know about that monster that nearly destroyed the southern continent, the Great Calamity? Qin Liangyu asked him. That monster is a being that should exist only within the Dimension Rift, a Rift Demon. Rift Demons come in all shapes and sizes. There's not a single Rift Demon that looks exactly the same as another. The only thing similar about these Rift Demons are their strength. Because they are all born in the same harsh environment, they are all extremely tough and powerful. As for the Dimension Rift, it's basically a void-like place you must enter whenever you travel an extremely long distance from one place to another using teleportation. So there's a chance you might encounter a Rift Demon whenever you teleport somewhere very far. Of course, Rift Demons are not common encounters. In fact, they are very rare. Wait a second. If the Great Calamity originated from the Mirror of Darkness, what are the chances of another one appearing in the future? Qin Liangyu asked with a worried frown. Although it's not impossible, it's also very unlikely, said Tang Lingxi. Like I'd said, only very weak Rift Demons have a chance to escape from the Rift Dimension, but even then most of them will die trying. By the way, you mentioned something about the southern region becoming more dangerous lately, right? This treasure you have here is probably the cause of that, Tang Lingxi said. What? Why would that be the case? Qin Liangyu responded with a baffled look. While you may not be able to see it, I can sense a sinister aura hidden deep within that eye, and it's probably affecting the nature around it. Furthermore, it's growing slightly with each passing day. After another 100 years, this place will probably become a nest that is filled with powerful spiritual beasts. No way. Qin Liang Yu mumbled in a distressed voice. Is there any way to solve this problem? Tang Lingxi nodded and said, it's really simple actually. Just destroy it or throw it away. That's. Qin Liang Yu became hesitant. Such a task was much easier said than done, as this treasure has been passed down from generation to generation for hundreds of years. If this tradition ended with her, she will never be able to sleep through this disgrace. There won't be any tradition to uphold if the southern continent gets crushed by countless spiritual beasts, right? How about this? I will take that treasure off your hand since I actually have a use for it, unlike you guys, who will only keep it as a decoration. Tang Lingxi said with a mysterious light in her eyes. After hearing Tang Lingxi's suggestion, Qin Liang Yu closed her eyes to ponder in silence. What Tang Lingxi said was correct. If they hold on to the treasure, it will only bring their tribe more chaos than benefits. Furthermore, the treasure originally belonged to Keiyu, as she was the one who killed the Rift Demon in the first place. Of course, I won't take something that valuable for free. I'll compensate you. How does 3 immortal-grade cultivation techniques sound? It'll surely be more useful to you than that eyeball. Immortal-grade techniques, and 3 of them. Qin Liang Yu's jaw dropped to the ground. Forget about immortal-grade techniques. They don't even have a single cultivation technique at the heaven grade. What, is that not enough? Tang Lingxi raised an eyebrow. Qin Liang Yu quickly shook her head. Of course not, it's more than enough, in fact it's too much. Then are you willing to trade? After pondering for a few more moments, Qin Liang Yu nodded. The treasure originally belonged to the goddess anyway. I feel bad for accepting your compensation too. Very well. I shall give you the cultivation techniques for the Rift Demon's eyeball once I have them prepared, Tang Lingxi said. Thank you, senior. Qin Liang Yu bowed to her. Darling, lend me your storage ring, Tang Lingxi suddenly said to him. Su Yang nodded and handed her his storage ring without hesitation. Once she had the storage ring, Tang Lingxi approached the Rift Demon's eyeball and sucked it into the storage ring. Here, keep this safe for me until you return to the 4 divine heavens, Tang Lingxi said. Because she has no way to physically take anything with her when she returns to her original body, she needed someone to transport it for her. What do you plan on doing with this eyeball anyway? Su Yang asked her with his eyebrows raised. The Usra God clan will benefit from the chaotic energy within the Rift Demon's eyeball. After all, unlike normal cultivators that cultivate using pure spiritual energy, those who cultivate our Usra God clan's technique must do so with chaotic spiritual energy. Other than that, Rift Demons are also exceedingly rare entities, so I want to add it to my collection. It will surely make it even more valuable. You are still filling up that dangerous collection. Why am I not surprised? Su Yang showed a smile. Anyway, now that we are done here, let's head to the other tribes and see what information they have on the Mirror of Darkness. Qin Liang Yu nodded. By the way, if you don't mind me asking, Senior Su, why are you researching on the Mirror of Darkness? Do you plan on entering it? She suddenly asked. That's right, he calmly nodded. I plan on entering the Mirror of Darkness the next time it appears. Are you not worried that it might lead you to nowhere? If it were me, I would not have the courage to go inside since I am afraid of the unknown. For cultivators, sometimes, there are things in life that are more terrifying than even death itself, Su Yang said. Or there are goals you must accomplish even if you might die in the process. This is especially true for me. If I fear death, then I will never be able to protect the things I value and the people I love. It's simple as that. Is that so? Qin Liang Yu mumbled in a low voice, seemingly speechless. perhaps even mesmerized by his words. Chapter 436, visiting the dragon tribe after handing the boar tribe's treasure to Xianxia. Qin Liangyu led the two of them outside of the formation, and said to the warrior waiting outside, "Lebao, I will be leaving the tribe for a while to show our esteemed guests the other tribes. While I am away, you will be the acting chief in my place. You can entrust the tribe with me, chief. I am willing to sacrifice even my life." Lebao nodded with a serious expression. "Good, then I will leave everything to you," Qin Liangyu said before walking outside with Su Yang and Xianxia. "Are you okay with that?" Su Yang suddenly asked her. "Not telling him about giving us the treasure, that is." "It's fine. He won't know unless I tell him or I bring him inside the formation. However, if the truth is revealed someday, I'm sure they'll understand why I made the decision," Qin Liangyu said. "Anyway, which tribe will we be visiting first?" Su Yang then asked. "The nearest tribe from here is the Firefly tribe. It's only 100 miles away." "Then that's where we shall go first." Qin Liangyu nodded and said, "Allow me to make some preparations before we leave." "Take your time." Meanwhile, a few thousand miles away from the boar tribe, Qiyu and the dragon tribe's envoy just arrived at their destination. "Welcome to our humble dragon tribe, fairy goddess," the envoy said with a lowered head. "Please wait here for a moment while I notify our chief of your arrival." The old man then descended from the sky and into one of the larger huts within the dragon tribe's settlement. "Senior Zhan, you have returned already. What happened at the boar tribe? Did you meet the goddess?" The dragon tribe's chief stood up after seeing the old man enter the hut. "Chief Long, this is an emergency." Senior Zhan rushed in front of him and spoke in an urgent tone. "The goddess, she's the real deal. She's really the goddess that killed the great calamity 1,000 years ago." "What? Are you sure about this information?" "I am 120% certain. My mind has been filled with nothing but her appearance every single day ever since I first saw her fight the great calamity on that day. Her otherworldly beauty, her exotic hair and peerless eyes that reflect the moonlight, it's impossible that I could have mistaken her for someone else." Senior Zhan responded with passion, revealing his obsession for Qiyu that was as clear as day. Chief Long looked at Senior Zhan's eyes without a serious expression and slowly nodded. "I understand. I will trust your judgment. However, this will complicate things for us a lot. The only reason we even bother with the boar tribe is because of the treasure they possess, the great calamity's eyeball that holds a profound amount of power. If the goddess is protecting the boar tribe, we will not be able to force them to hand the treasure over to us and can only hope that they will accept our negotiations. Of course, if the goddess was here, I could also request for her to not interrupt our business with the boar tribe." Chief Long, if you're worried about that, then there's no need to worry, since the fairy goddess is actually waiting outside right now," Senior Zhan said. "What?" Chief Long's eyes widened with shock. "If she's already here, why didn't you say so first? Hurry up and bring me to her before she gets annoyed. We don't know if she's any good with her patience." Chief Long quickly left the hut. "Goddess, please excuse this insignificant one for making you wait outside like this." Chief Long lowered his head and body to her. Qiyu glanced at him for a moment before descending from the sky. "What business do you have for me?" Qiyu asked him in a cold voice, ignoring the people that were staring at her with wide eyes in the distance. What a beauty, Chief Long thought to himself as he was stunned by Qiyu's beautiful appearance for a moment. After seeing her for the first time, he instantly understood why Senior Zhan was so obsessed with her. If not for her background and her unfathomable strength, he would do anything in his power to make her his own. This insignificant one only has but a single request for the goddess. Chief Long then spoke. "The dragon tribe and the boar tribe are currently in negotiations over one of the treasures they possess, and we would like to request for the goddess to not intervene with our business." "Huh?" Qiyu instantly frowned. He called her all the way over here just to say that. Oh, of course, this is but a humble request. If the goddess refuses, we won't pursue this matter any further. Chief Long misunderstood Keyu's facial expressions and trembled in fear. After a moment of silence, Keyu spoke. Why would I care about your business with another tribe? Even if you want to kill each other, I won't intervene. Really? Chief Long was dumbfounded by her response, and he continued. Then why did the goddess protect the boar tribe when the lion tribe attacked them? If you were peacefully drinking tea in someone else's house and someone suddenly disturbs your peace, would you just sit there and do nothing? Keyu asked him. And no, I would not. Chief Long shook his head. Then why would you expect anyone else to? After a moment of silence, Keyu continued. Even though I said all that, you are actually asking the wrong person. What do you mean? Chief Long raised his eyebrows in a puzzled manner. While it is true that I do not care about your business with the Boer tribe or any tribe for that matter, I cannot say the same for my partners, she said. The goddess's partners. Chief Long turned to look at Senior Zhan. The goddess must be referring to the two youngsters with her at that time, Senior Zhan said. That's right. However, to call them youngsters, you cannot be any more wrong. Keyu showed a mysterious smile and said, not only are they older than any of us here, but the two of them have more authority than me. Chapter 437, The Wandering Immortal and His Missing Mirror. Both Chief Long and Senior Zhan stared at Keyu with a dazed look, speechless by her words, especially Senior Zhan, who witnessed the two youngsters with his own eyes. They are older than all of us combined. What kind of nonsense is that? They were only at the early stages of the heavenly spirit realm. How could someone like that possibly have more authority than the fairy goddess, who has unfathomable strength? Senior Zhan thought to himself, clearly in disbelief. Anyway, now that I have listened to your request, it's time for you to listen to mine, Keyu suddenly said to them. As long as the dragon tribe has the ability, we are willing to fulfill any request from the goddess, Chief Long quickly said. Good, then give me everything you have on the Mirror of Darkness, she said. The Mirror of Darkness. I want all of your information on it. Everything. Chief Long looked hesitant. You aren't willing. Keyu narrowed her eyes. No, that's not the case, goddess. It's just that we have a lot, an entire hut of scrolls to be exact. The more the better, show me the place. Please come this way. A few minutes later, Chief Long led Keyu into a hut that was filled with scrolls and books. What would the goddess like to know about the Mirror of Darkness? Although I don't know everything, the dragon tribe has spent the most time among all tribes studying and trying to figure out its origins. Do you know where it came from, or where does it lead? Keyu asked. Unfortunately, those are questions that every tribe is trying to figure out even as of this moment, because nobody has ever returned after they stepped inside the Mirror of Darkness. We cannot know where it leads. As for its origins, there have been rumors that the Mirror of Darkness once belonged to an immortal. H.M. Keyu's interest instantly piqued, and she asked, Tell me more about this immortal. Chief Long nodded and began to explain. Nobody knows when the Mirror of Darkness first appeared in the world, but there are stories of this immortal who wandered the southern region looking for a silver mirror. According to a few of the witnesses who had encountered this immortal, he was wearing some sort of beaten armor, looking like he just got back from a long and audacious war. Immortal. Beaten armor. It can't be. An image appeared in Keyu's head as Chief Long spoke about the immortal. This immortal, he would ask all of his encounters if they had seen a silver mirror anywhere, and he was seen all over the southern region. However, many years later, this immortal seemingly disappeared from this world and was never seen again. This immortal, he must be that skeleton inside the immortal's treasury, the heavenly emperor's lackey. Keyu was convinced that this immortal's true identity was Immortal Hands-In, someone that works directly under the heavenly emperor. So this Mirror of Darkness is not a treasure created by nature, but something he brought here from the four divine heavens. Keyu mumbled to herself. A moment later, she said to Chief Long, "I want to look through all these scrolls. Please take your time, goddess. I will make sure that nobody will be bothering you while you are inside this hut." Chief Long bowed to her before leaving the hut. Once he left Ku alone, Chief Long approached Senior Zhan and said with a grim smile on his face, "The goddess has given us her word that she will not interfere with our business. I want you to relay this message to the Lion tribe and tell them to take advantage of this situation and deal with the Boar tribe." "What about our negotiation? Aren't we going to wait for their response?" Senior Zhan asked. "I already know their answer. Unless their tribe starves to death, they won't part with the Great Calamity's eyeball. So instead of waiting around for a response like idiots, we should force their hands to hand us the eyeball. Furthermore, the goddess is currently here at the Dragon tribe. This will allow the Lion tribe to move without needing to worry about her." "I understand." Senior Zhan nodded. "By the way, what about the goddess's partners? There were 2 of them. What should we do if they intervene?" "After all, the goddess already said that she does not speak for them. If they intervene, then allow them. Let the Lion tribe deal with them as they fit. If it angers the goddess, we can just put the blame on the Lion tribe. In the meantime, I will keep watch of the goddess and try to keep her here for as long as possible." Sometime later, when Senior Zhan arrived at the Lion tribe, he commanded them, "Chief Long has spoken with the goddess, and we have received her words that she will not intervene with our business anymore." "What? Really?" As one would have expected, the Lion tribe natives were surprised by this news, since they were chased away by her once already. Senior Zhan nodded. "In fact, the goddess is currently staying at the Dragon tribe. I would suggest you start moving now before she leaves. Even if she won't interfere, I doubt any of you would want to fight before her majestic presence." The chief of the Lion tribe nodded and commanded his people, "We are returning to the Boar tribe as soon as possible. Immediately begin the preparations. Although they have managed to survive last time, they will not get away from us a second time." The people of the Lion tribe roared viciously with the feeling of war in the air. After hyping up the entire Lion tribe, Senior Zhan silently disappeared from the scene without even warning them about Su Yang and Tang Lingxi. After all, his goal was to make them want to fight the Boar tribe. If they knew that they might fight with the goddess's companions, they would surely hesitate to attack them. Now that everything is prepared, we can just sit back and wait for the action. Senior Zhan chuckled to himself as he returned to the Long tribe chapter 438 Firefly tribe. 100 miles away from the Boar tribe was the Firefly tribe. Compared to the Boar tribe's large population, the Firefly tribe's settlement is a relatively small tribe with only a few thousand meters in size and less than 100 people in the tribe, and they are ranked 364 amongst the thousands of small tribes within the southern region. Chief Qin. What brings the chief of the Boar tribe to visit this humble place? A middle-aged man at the peak of Earth's spirit realm greeted them by the entrance. "Hello, Chief Li. It's been a while since we last met. I have these esteemed guests with me today that wish to learn more about the Mirror of Darkness, but my Boar tribe was unable to provide such information, so we came here wondering if the Firefly tribe can assist us." Chief Qin said to him with a friendly smile. "Esteemed guests." Chief Li looked at the extremely handsome young man and a beautiful young lady standing behind Chief Qin. It only took him a single glance to recognize the splendor and pride within their aloof aura, almost like he was looking at royalty. "We won't be here for long, so you don't have to worry about being bothered," Su Yang said to him with a smile. "Nonsense. There's no way we could be bothered by the Boar tribe's esteemed guests. It's an honor to have you here at the Firefly tribe. Even if you wish to stay here forever, we would have no complaints." "Ha ha ha," Chief Li spoke with laughter. The Boar tribe was ranked 3rd out of the 18 major tribes, whilst their Firefly tribe was only ranked 364. Even if a mere servant from the boar tribe arrives, the firefly tribe must treat them as though they are esteemed guests, much less the chief of the boar tribe and people who they consider as esteemed guests. Please, follow me to the library. All of our scrolls are being stored there. Chief Li then led the three of them to one of the huts. Who are those two behind Chief Qin? Their skin is so pure and white. I have never seen anything like that before. Once Su Yang and Tang Lingxi entered the Firefly tribe, their unique appearance and beauty quickly attracted the attention of the tribe members there. It was almost like seeing the moon for the first time for them. The men in the tribe stared at Tang Lingxi's beautiful face and charming figure, whilst the females there stared at Su Yang's handsome face and charismatic aura, feeling like they were captivated by their appearance and aura. Although it's quite small, this is our humble library. Please, take all the time you need inside, Chief Li said to them. Thank you, Su Yang said to him before entering the hut with Tang Lingxi. After they were gone, Chief Li approached Chief Qin and spoke. Chief Qin, can I ask you about something? What is it? She raised an eyebrow. Is it true that the goddess from the legends has returned to the southern region, the one that supposedly killed the great calamity? I also heard that she's staying at your boar tribe. Hearing his words, Chief Qin lifted her chest in a prideful manner and smiled. That's right, the goddess was with us until just recently. But how did you know? She arrived very recently. Word travels around fast when it involves the lion tribe after all, Chief Li sighed. I'm glad the boar tribe hasn't succumbed to their greed yet. They have been going on a rampage lately, raiding one tribe nearly every single day. They have always been an ambitious group, but they never got out of hand. However, ever since they got friendly with the dragon tribe, they have been going out of control, like a group of bandits. Chief Li then continued, Chief Qin, do you think you could possibly ask the goddess to help us deal with the lion tribe? At this rate, I'm afraid that even more tribes will be destroyed by their hands. Qin Liangyu did not immediately respond and turned quiet. A moment later she spoke. It is true that the lion tribe has been getting out of hand lately, but I don't think it's a good idea to involve the goddess in our worldly affairs. That's akin to asking an elephant to crack an egg for us. I understand where Chief Qin is coming from, but the lion tribe is almost unstoppable right now. Unless all of the tribes come together to deal with them, we won't be able to defeat them, and you should know how difficult that would be. I know, but still, I cannot just ask the goddess for a favor like this, right? There's also the chance that she might not want to be bothered with these kinds of worldly matters. We cannot afford to offend her. After a moment of awkward silence, Chief Li spoke. What about those two inside the library? I can feel the profoundness in their aura. They must have a powerful background. What if we ask them to help us? Of course, we won't ask them to help for free. That's, Qin Liangyu frowned. Although approaching Su Yang for help would definitely be easier to manage than approaching the goddess, she felt that it wouldn't be right for them to ask for help when they barely just met. However, they won't be able to stop the lion tribe's madness if they don't ask for help, as it was impossible for the tribes to come together even if they may perish due to their disdain for each other. Okay, I will ask them later. Qin Liangyu nodded after considering it for some time. That's great. Then I will leave everything to you, Chief Qin, and if you ever need help, you can come straight to the Firefly tribe. While we may not be able to do much, we will do everything in our power to stop the lion tribe from domination. Chapter 439 Qin Liangyu's request for help. As expected, there isn't much information here either. Tang Lingxi sighed as she placed the scroll in her hands down. You can't expect much. It's not easy figuring out the origins of treasures like this mirror. However, for some reason, I have a feeling that this is not my first time seeing that mirror. Su Yang said with a pondering expression. What do you mean? Are you saying that you have seen that mirror before? Tang Lingxi tilted her head. He nodded and continued. I have been trying to remember where I have seen it before ever since I saw it, but I just can't wrap my head around it. Maybe I am just mistaken. Although he cannot recall where he had seen the mirror of darkness before, there was just this familiar feeling within him ever since he saw the mirror. I'm sure you'll remember it somewhere down the line, but for now, let's head to the next tribe to see if they have anything else, Tang Lingxi said. Su Yang nodded, and the two of them left the hut a few moments later. We are done here, he said to Qin Liangyu, who was patiently waiting outside. Would you like to see another tribe, or do you have enough information now? She asked. Let's check out a few more tribes. I understand. Let me notify Chief Li of our departure first, Qin Liangyu said before looking for him. Chief Li, we're leaving now. Hm, have they finished already? Then allow me to bid them farewell. A few moments later, Chief Li and Qin Liangyu walked to the gates. If you ever wish to return for another visit, our doors are always open for you, esteemed guests. Chief Li bowed to them, and he said to Qin Liangyu before they left, Chief Qin, please don't forget about our conversation earlier. Don't worry, I won't forget it, Qin Liangyu said as they began their journey to another tribe. After leaving the Firefly tribe, Qin Liangyu led Su Yang and Tang Lingxi to many tribes around the southern region, traversing thousands of miles in just a few days. The Earth tribe, the Totem tribe, the Steel tribe, the Life tribe. Su Yang and Tang Lingxi visited over a dozen tribes during these few days, and they have read over thousands of scrolls regarding the Mirror of Darkness. However, they were unable to find any worthwhile information, as every tribe had almost the same information and only very slight differences. As for Qin Liangyu, she was unable to find the right timing to speak with Su Yang about their complications with the Lion tribe. Furthermore, she wanted to deepen their relationship for a few more days before she requested help from them, as that would surely make it easier for her to ask him for help. I am really sorry for this. Qin Liangyu suddenly lowered her head and apologized to Su Yang after they left the wolf tribe. Even though we have traveled thousands of miles and visited dozens of tribes, you were unable to find the information that you wanted. I am a failure as an escort, wasting your precious time. There's nothing for you to apologize to, since it's not your fault that there's not enough information out there. Su Yang calmly shook his head and said, we never expected to find much anyway. A moment later, he continued to speak. By the way, I have been sensing a feeling of concern and distress from you. Are you troubled in any way? That's, Qin Liangyu showed a hesitant expression. I shouldn't impose my troubles onto you, Senior Su. If there's anything troubling you, I am here for you. Not only have you been taking your time to travel with us, but that worried frown is not suitable for your beautiful face. Be beautiful. Qin Liangyu was taken by surprise by his unexpected compliment, causing her to blush. In fact, she was blushing so much that not even her tanned skin could hide the redness that covered her face, almost like she was experiencing a high fever. You know, Tang Lingxi suddenly spoke. He's the type of guy who cannot leave a woman alone, much less a pretty and troubled one, so it would be for the best if you just say out loud your troubles so that we can get this over with. Trust me, I have experienced this myself, and it will get annoying after some time. Annoying, huh? Su Yang showed a smile and said, if I hadn't annoyed you to that point, you would have never allowed me to help you at that time, and we wouldn't be in this relationship right now. After hearing Tang Lingxi's words, Qin Liangyu decided to finally ask them for help. It's like this, Senior Su, when we visited the Firefly tribe, Chief Li asked me for help. He originally wanted me to ask the goddess, but I felt we couldn't involve her in our worldly matters, so he wanted me to ask you two for help instead. As you already know, the Boar tribe was attacked by the Lion tribe just recently. Luckily for us, the goddess came at the right time and interrupted their plans, saving our tribe. But the others were not so lucky, as we are not the only ones being terrorized by the Lion tribe. In fact, they have already destroyed dozens of tribes over the past few months, growing stronger with every tribe they defeat. Normally, we wouldn't have to worry about the lion tribe since they are ranked lower than us in terms of strength. However, they have been getting help from the dragon tribe, causing their power to increase significantly. We don't think the lion tribe will stop anytime soon, at least not until they dominate and destroy most of the tribes out there. Thus, the boar tribe and the tribes that we have visited the past few days would like to humbly request for help from Senior Su. Qin Liangyu spoke as she slowly kowtowed on the floor, begging for their help. Su Yang did not immediately respond. In fact, Tang Lingxi was the first to speak. Can you tell me something? If you find the lion tribe a threat but cannot defeat him alone, why don't you just ask the other tribes to help? Since you all have the same interest, it would be wise of you to combine your strength and fight the lion tribe together. Indeed, there is that method, but Qin Liangyu shook her head and said, not every tribe is friendly with each other. In fact, most of them despise each other. The tribes we have been visiting these past few days are an exception since they have a friendly relationship with the boar tribe already. As for the other tribes, they would rather die than to shake hands with the other tribes even if it meant the destruction of their entire tribe. It would simply be easier to defeat the lion tribe alone than to unite the tribes and fight together. Furthermore, even if the tribes that are willing to cooperate, they are all smaller tribes without much power. Thank you for listening to the story on KevinAudio.com Chapter 440. It would be a waste to kill her. I understand the situation and can see why you are feeling troubled, said Su Yang a few moments later, and he looked at Qin Liangyu with a serious expression. Of course, I am willing to help you with your troubles. However, exactly how do you want us to help you deal with the lion tribe? Do you want me to ask the lion tribe to stop terrorizing the other tribes peacefully? Or would you rather I slaughter everyone from the lion tribe so that they will never be able to harm another tribe ever again? Su Yang spoke with a grim light in his eyes, his gaze on Qin Liangyu as sharp as swords. That's... Qin Liangyu was taken aback by his response and became speechless. After a moment of silence, she managed to force a few words out of her throat and spoke. I will believe in Senior Su's judgment. Whatever you decide to do, I will support it unconditionally. Hearing her words, Su Yang showed a smile and turned to look at Tang Lingxi. What do you think? How should we deal with this lion tribe? He asked for her suggestion. If it were up to me, I would simply slaughter all of them, as that would be the most efficient and easiest method, said Tang Lingxi with a nonchalant expression, almost like she could take away lives without blinking her eyes. However, she requested for your help, and you are also the one who decided to help her, so the choice is yours ultimately. Su Yang nodded and turned to Qin Liangyu to ask, what is the extent of their prowess? Do they have any sovereign spirit realm experts? Qin Liangyu quickly shook her head and spoke. The lion tribe has 7 heavenly spirit realm warriors and around 30 earth spirit realm warriors. Su Yang closed his eyes to ponder. Although their numbers are not as large as even an ordinary sect within the eastern continent, they make up for that number by having a large number of powerful cultivators. Hell, not even elite sects would have so many heavenly spirit realm experts. A moment later, he opened his eyes and spoke. I understand. However, before I help you with the lion tribe, I want to see why they are doing what they are doing. I want to know the reason for their terrorizing acts. You wish to go to the lion tribe? Qin Liangyu looked at him with a surprised face. Su Yang nodded. Can you lead the way? I will bring you there. Qin Liangyu nodded. A few days later, Qin Liangyu brought Su Yang and Tang Lingxi to the lion tribe. There's almost nobody here, Tang Lingxi said after sensing only a few individuals within the settlement. Where could they have gone? Qin Liangyu could feel an ominous feeling looming in the air when she sensed the heavy atmosphere in the area. It was almost like she'd walked into an invisible battlefield. "Who are you? And what business do you have here at the Lion Tribe?" One of the people inside the settlement finally noticed them and approached the gate. Qin Liangyu looked at Su Yang, as she did not want to reveal her identity right before the enemy's base, especially when the Lion Tribe wanted to destroy their tribe. That would be akin to wrapping yourself as a present and sending it directly to the enemy's front door and telling them to kill her. "My name is Su Yang, a wandering traveler. I have some business with your chief. Is he here right now?" The guard looked up and down at Su Yang and inwardly snorted in disdain after seeing his handsome appearance. "The chief is not here right now. You can come back later." "Oh, where did he go then? I have urgent matters with him, so I don't mind going to him," Su Yang said with a calm expression. "Sorry, but the chief won't be able to speak with you even if you find him. After all, he's—" "Hey, that's Qin Liangyu, the chief of the Boar tribe. What is she doing here?" Before the guard could even finish his words, another guard approached them and revealed Qin Liangyu's identity. "What? The Boar tribe's chief?" The other guard immediately raised the spear in his grasp and pointed it at her. A few moments later, a few more guards appeared, and they all stared at Qin Liangyu as though she was a rabbit on the verge of being hunted. "Ha ha ha! Who could have expected that the chief of the Boar tribe would willingly come to our base? She simply doesn't want to live. Capture her. Once the chief comes back, he will surely be ecstatic to see her in our grasp." 7 people from the Lion tribe immediately surrounded Qin Liangyu and the group. "Hey, who are these two, and what should we do with them?" One of them spoke as he looked at Su Yang and Tang Lingxi. "I don't care who they are, but if they are with the Boar tribe, kill them. However, leave that pale beauty alive. I have never seen someone as beautiful as her before. It would be a waste to kill someone like her without having some fun with her first." The guards salivated just from imagining their hands touching Tang Lingxi's smooth-looking skin. They simply cannot wait to have a taste of her body. "How troublesome," Su Yang mumbled in a calm voice, clearly unfazed by their situation. "What should we do now, Senior Su?" Qin Liangyu asked him as she subtly closed their distance. "You can start by closing your eyes," Su Yang said to her. "Huh?" Qin Liangyu looked at him with a puzzled expression. However, before she could even react, a dreadful aura surged from Tang Lingxi's body, causing the atmosphere there to turn heavy. "A bunch of lowly savages that are not even worthy to glance at me dares to have such vulgar thoughts of me," Tang Lingxi mumbled in a cold voice, her expression grim. "Come with me." Su Yang suddenly grabbed Qin Liangyu by the waist and jumped away to distance himself from Tang Lingxi. "What's happening, Senior Su?" Qin Liangyu asked him in an anxious voice. "Well, it's going to get a little bit bloody here," Su Yang said. Immediately after he said those words, Tang Lingxi moved chapter 441 Usra God's curse out of the 7 people from the Lion tribe that surrounded Tang Lingxi. 5 of them were only at the true spirit realm, while the last 2 were at the earth spirit realm. As someone at the heavenly spirit realm, Tang Lingxi could kill all of them in the blink of an eye, even with her hands tied behind her back. However, because of the disparity in their strength, the guards were unable to see Tang Lingxi's true strength and therefore underestimated her, being completely oblivious of the danger they are currently in. "Your boyfriend is quite the coward. He abandoned you without a thought. Ha ha ha. Why don't you come with us? We won't leave you alone for a second." The guards laughed out loud after seeing Su Yang distance himself from Tang Lingxi, thinking that he was running away. First of all, in the midst of their laughter, Tang Lingxi took a single step forward and disappeared from the guards' views, almost like she'd turned into a ghost. "He's not my boyfriend, but my husband." Tang Lingxi suddenly appeared behind the Earth Spirit Realm expert and grabbed his arms. "Huh." By the time the guard even realized that he was caught by Tang Lingxi, his arms were violently ripped from his shoulders, causing his body to shudder from shock. Disgusting. Tang Lingxi casually tossed the detached arms away with a disgusted expression. After throwing the severed arms like they were trash, Tang Lingxi grabbed the guard by the head and also ripped it off his body with ease, instantly killing him. Qin Liangyu felt the urge to puke after seeing the brutal scene before her. Although she has seen a fair share of blood and gore, she has never seen anyone as brutal and bloodthirsty as Tang Lingxi. Instead of a goddess, she looked like someone being possessed by an evil god. As for the other 6 guards from the lion tribe, they all stared at Tang Lingxi with a terrified expression on their faces, looking like they were seeing a monster. "What's wrong?" Tang Lingxi turned to look at the guards and slowly walked towards them. However, every step Tang Lingxi took towards the guards, they also took a step back. "Why are you distancing from me? I thought that you wanted to touch this body." Tang Lingxi's eyes were as cold as ice, and her dreadful aura haunted them like a nightmare. Wait a moment, there must have been an understanding. One of the guards suddenly spoke in a trembling voice. "A misunderstanding? I don't think so." Tang Lingxi continued to chase after them. "Consider yourselves lucky, since you get to touch my skin when I rip all of your limbs out of that useless body. Run, she's a fucking monster." The 6 guards immediately turned around and began running away in 6 different directions. However, with her superior cultivation and movement technique, Tang Lingxi easily caught up with one of them and quickly grabbed his arms. Please spare me. I have a wife and children." As though Tang Lingxi couldn't even hear his words, she tore his arms out of his body like the previous victim. The guard quickly fell onto the ground, and that's when Tang Lingxi raised her legs before stomping his head, causing it to explode into a bloody mess. Immediately after killing that guard, she chased after the next one. A few moments later, Tang Lingxi's arm pierced a hole in the guard's chest, ripping his heart from his chest, before crushing the heart, causing it to explode like a tomato. It appears that the Asura god's curse is active even though she's in a different body. Su Yang mumbled to himself as he calmly watched Tang Lingxi tear her enemies apart like a beast. "Asura god's curse." Qin Liangyu, who heard his mumble, showed a puzzled look. She belongs to a family with a very unique and powerful bloodline that allows her to easily dominate anyone under the heavens. However, very little things in this world are actually perfect. Although she has a tremendous amount of strength due to her unique bloodline, that blood also curses her body with the Asura god's curse, which will make the person uncontrollably bloodthirsty if they are provoked. This is why nobody is willing to provoke a person from the Asura god clan, as it always leads to a blood bath. However, Tang Lingxi is not actually in her own body, and Hong Yuer's body does not contain even a single drop of Asura blood, so it makes no sense for Tang Lingxi to be affected by the curse at this moment. Does the Asura god's curse actually affect one's soul instead of their blood? Su Yang silently pondered to himself, as Tang Lingxi continued to slaughter the guards with extreme brutality. Sometime later, the screaming in the area stopped, and Tang Lingxi returned to Su Yang's side. However, her appearance was anything but graceful, as her face and robe was stained with blood, making her look like a sinister evil cultivator. "I'm sorry that you had to see something so unsightly, darling. It has been a very long time since anyone has dared to provoke me in such a manner, so I got a little angry. And I didn't think that the Asura god's curse would affect me while I am in this body," Tang Lingxi said to him. "By the way, before I killed the last guy, I asked him where their chief was," she continued. "He said that the chief is currently leading the lion tribe to the boar tribe for war and that they left 3 days ago." "What?" Qin Liangyu exclaimed loudly. "The boar tribe is in danger. I have to get back now." Qin Liangyu suddenly dropped to her knees with despair on her face. "But even if we head back now, it will be too late. The lion tribe should have arrived at the boar tribe by now. It's over." The boar tribe does not have the power to resist the lion tribe. They'll be completely wiped out. Chapter 442 Lion Tribe's Invasion. Calm down, Chief Qin, Su Yang said to her, whose face was filled with tears at this moment. He then retrieved the flying boat from his storage ring and continued, "If we travel with this flying boat, we can return to the boar tribe within minutes, so don't give up hope just yet." Really? Qin Liangyu looked at him with red eyes and spoke, "Please, save my boar tribe. I am willing to do anything in exchange for your help." Su Yang nodded and hopped onto the flying ship with the two of them, before they rushed back to the boar tribe. Meanwhile, a few hours ago at the dragon tribe, Kityu had finished reading all of the scrolls in the hut and was prepared to return to the boar tribe. "I hope you found whatever information that you were looking for, goddess." Chief Long was standing outside when she left, almost like he was waiting for Kityu to be finished this entire time. "I have everything that I need. Thank you for the information." "Are you leaving now, goddess? If I may ask, where will you be going?" Chief Long asked her. "I'm returning to the boar tribe. Do you have any problems with that?" Kityu looked at him with narrowed eyes. "I wouldn't dare." Chief Long quickly shook his head and he continued, "However, this humble one would like to escort the goddess back to the boar tribe." "Why would you want to do something like that? I don't need your escort." Kityu refused his offer. "I happen to have some business with the boar tribe, so I will need to visit them sooner or later," said Chief Long. Of course, his reason for following her to the boar tribe was only an excuse. Chief Long actually wanted to be there to see if Kityu would be intervening with the lion tribe's invasion. "Do whatever you want, but I won't be waiting for you," Kityu said as she jumped into the air before soaring towards the boar tribe. Meanwhile, on Su Yang's flying boat, Tang Lingxi casually began removing her blood-stained robes, revealing her sublime body and perfect skin. "Are you sure that doesn't break your promise with Hong Yuer?" Su Yang asked her with a smile on his face. Of course, his eyes did not look away and stared directly at her slim figure. "I only promised her that I would not jeopardize her purity. Showing a little skin to her fiancé won't do such a thing. Unless you are going to pounce at me right now, it will be fine." Tang Lingxi smiled back at him. A few minutes later, right before the flying boat reached the boar tribe, Su Yang and his group noticed a red light shooting into the sky before exploding with brightness. "What's that?" Su Yang asked. That's the boar tribe's emergency signal. They are in danger. It must be the lion tribe." Qin Liangyu exclaimed after seeing the signal, her face filled with worry. Meanwhile, inside the boar tribe, it was a chaotic scene with the people from the boar tribe desperately defending themselves against the lion tribe. There was blood splatter everywhere and corpses from both tribes littered the ground. "Have you gone crazy, Chief Shi? We have the goddess's protection. How dare you attack us while the goddess is here?" Lebao shouted as he fought against the chief of the lion tribe. "If your goddess was here, why hasn't she intervened yet? The answer is as clear as day. She doesn't care about protecting the boar tribe." Chief Shi roared with laughter as he stuck Lebao with his strength at the peak of the heavenly spirit realm. "Ah!" Lebao cried out in pain after being struck, feeling some of the bone in his body shattered from the impact. "You are a fine warrior, Lebao, one of the best in the boar tribe. It makes me wonder why haven't you already made Chief Qin your woman and become the new chief of the boar tribe yet?" Chief Shi spoke. "If I were in your shoes, I would have long conquered her and made her my woman." Chief Shi suddenly stretched his hands and continued, "I know that you like her, Lebao. Abandon the boar tribe and join my lion tribe. If you do, I will make Qin Liangyu your woman." What?" Lebao looked at him with a dazed look. "You want me to betray the boar tribe? You are truly out of your mind. Of course, you can refuse. However, just remember that if you refuse, I will kill you here and take Qin Liangyu for myself instead. It is hard to find a woman of her quality around this area after all. You will never get away with this." Lebao roared as he rushed at Chief Shi while ignoring the pain in his body. By the way, I have been wondering, where is your chief, Qin Liang Yu? I haven't seen her since I got here. Did she by any chance run away by herself, leaving the rest of the boar tribe to fend us off while she escapes? Ha ha ha. Unlike you cowards that can only borrow the strength of others, Chief Qin won't do something like that. It doesn't matter if she's hiding or running away, because as long as she's in the southern region, I will find her. Chief, she spoke in a grim voice as he slowly retrieved the large axe behind his back. Where did you get that spiritual weapon? Lebao trembled in fear after sensing the sinister aura emitting from the black axe in Chief Shi's grasp. You like it? It's a little gift from our friends, the dragon tribe. It's called the Black Dragon Axe, a heaven-grade spiritual weapon. Bastard, Lebao growled with red veins in his eyes. You should be proud, since you will be the first person I kill with this Black Dragon Axe. Chief Shi slowly raised the axe into the air. Don't worry, I will take care of Qin Liang Yu for you. I will also enjoy her body in your stead. Goodbye, Lebao. Chief Shi gazed down at Lebao with a malicious grin on his face. I'm sorry, Chief Qin, I won't be able to keep my promise, Lebao mumbled and closed his eyes. Die for me, Chief Shi shouted as he swung the axe with great force. It was at this moment a sharp voice resounded from the sky, Lebao. Upon hearing this familiar voice, Lebao opened his eyes and looked up, expecting to see Qin Liang Yu's face. However, what he saw was not Qin Liang Yu, but the back of a tall figure who was standing between him and Chief Shi, almost like a mountain. Who the hell are you, you bastard? Chief Shi's eyes widened with shock when some random young man blocked his black dragon axe with a small black dagger. That's a decent weapon you got there. You won't mind if I take it after I kill you, right? Su Yang spoke with a calm smile on his face. You will kill me. Ha ha ha. Chief Shi jumped back and created some distance between them as he laughed. You are only at the 3rd level of the heavenly spirit realm, while I am at the 9th level. What can a pipsqueak like you do to me? Don't get cocky just because you blocked my weakest attack by surprise. Then why don't you hurry up and show me your strongest move? Su Yang responded with a nonchalant voice. Chapter 443, The Goddess Has Returned. Wait a moment, that dagger in your hands. Chief Shi suddenly noticed the domineering aura coming from the black scorpion in Su Yang's grasp. You also have a heaven-grade spiritual weapon. If some loser like you can have one, why wouldn't I also have one? Su Yang said. Ha ha ha. Although it surprised me a little bit, it will not change the results of this fight. Even if you have a heaven-grade spiritual weapon, you will not be able to defeat me. The disparity is simply too big between us. However, if you give me that weapon and walk away from this place right now, I can spare your life, said Chief Shi. However, Su Yang merely smiled and said, I have to agree with you on one thing, that the disparity between us is too big. He then pointed the black scorpion at Chief Shi and continued, even though you are at the peak of the heavenly spirit realm, you had only achieved that power from eating spiritual meat your entire life. It's like a skinny man stuffing himself until he is fat and then gain some strength due to his extra weight. It's not true strength. Meanwhile, I cultivated one of the strongest cultivation techniques under the heavens, allowing me to have an extremely pure and rich spiritual energy. In fact, compared to the heavenly spirit realm cultivators in the eastern continent, you are barely stronger than those at the early stages of the heavenly spirit realm whilst being at the peak of the heavenly spirit realm. It's actually quite laughable how arrogant you are despite being so weak. Why, you little fucker? Chief Shi's face flushed with redness and covered in bulging veins by the time Su Yang was finished insulting him, his body shaking from rage. He has never been insulted in such a manner before, and by a junior no less. If I don't cut you up and feed you to the dogs, I will not be chief of the lion tribe. Die. Chief Shi suddenly rushed at Su Yang with the black dragon axe glowing a dangerous light. However, before he could even take 2 steps, Chief Shi suddenly stopped moving and began trembling in fear, almost like he was afraid to move. HM. Seeing his strange behavior, Su Yang raised an eyebrow and then he looked up at the sky where two figures were staring at them in the air above them. It was Qiyu and Chief Long. Goddess. It's the goddess. She has returned. When the people in the Boar tribe noticed Qiyu's presence, be it the people from the Boar tribe or the Lion tribe, all of them stopped fighting and bowed to her. The entire place turned dead silent almost instantly after her arrival. Nobody there dared to speak and waited for Qiyu to speak first. "What are you going to do about this, goddess?" Chief Long asked her. Qiyu glanced at Su Yang before looking at Chief Long and said, "I have already told you that whatever happens between the tribes is none of my business or concern, so I will not intervene." "I see." Chief Long sighed in relief after hearing Qiyu's words. But when the people from the Boar tribe heard her words, despair appeared on all of their faces, almost like they were abandoned by their god. "No way." Even Qin Liangyu couldn't believe her ears, and she turned to look at Su Yang, who remained nonchalant. "Ha ha ha, did you hear that, you guys? The goddess will not interfere with us so we can go all out." "Chief," she shouted out loud, and the people from the Lion tribe roared with excitement. "Qin Liangyu, I will give you one last chance before I destroy your tribe. If you obediently come with me and become my woman, I will leave the Boar tribe only half destroyed. But if you refuse, I will not only completely destroy this place and kill everyone here, but I will also destroy you mentally and physically." Ahahaha. Qin Liangyu bit her lips until it bled, feeling absolutely powerless in this situation. "What about you, Su Yang?" In the midst of the noise from the Lion tribe, Qiyu suddenly continued speaking. "What are you going to do?" she asked him. "Do I really need to answer that question?" Su Yang smiled. A smile also appeared on Qiyu's face. "Then do you want some help?" "No need. I can deal with something like this all by myself." What is going on here?" Chief Long watched the developing situation with a puzzled expression. "Hey, Axe Boy, before I decide whether I should kill all of you or spare your lives, why don't you tell me your reason for invading the other tribes?" Su Yang asked him. "Reason?" Chief, she raised his eyebrows. "I have a few that come to mind, such as wanting to dominate the southern region or wanting the Lion tribe to become the strongest tribe out there. However, if I have to pick one reason that truly matters, that would be because I love to destroy things. Ha ha ha. Then what about you guys from the Lion tribe? Are you also doing this simply because you want to destroy things?" Su Yang then asked them. "Of course, why else would we be doing this?" All of them roared with enthusiasm. "I see." Su Yang closed his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened his eyes a moment later, they flickered with killing intent, and his body surged with a powerful aura that was filled with the feeling of dread. What is this aura that's coming from him?" Chief, she could feel a dangerous feeling coming from Su Yang, and his instincts told him to turn around and run away. "Hey, what are you waiting for?" Su Yang suddenly said to him in a calm voice that did not match the killing intent in his eyes. "I have been waiting for you to display your strongest attack this entire time. How long are you going to keep me waiting? If you don't attack me before I kill you, it'll look like I am bullying the weak and powerless." "Why, you? Since you want to die so much, I will gladly fulfill your wish." Chief, she roared with all of his might, and his aura surged with a tyrannical power, making it seem like his body grew in size. "Taste my black dragon axe, you insignificant little bastard." Chief, she shouted as he pounced at Su Yang. Chapter 444. Where did this monster come from? Chief, she jumped high into the air and pounced at Su Yang with the black dragon axe emitting a tyrannical aura. Dragon shattering strike. When the chief, she swung the black dragon axe, it was as though an invisible pressure had suddenly appeared in the Boar tribe, causing the people there to feel as though they were being forced to their knees. Seeing the large axe diving straight at him, Su Yang raised the black scorpion in front of his face and prepared to block Chief Shi's strike. You think you can stop my black dragon axe with your puny dagger?" When the black dragon axe was almost in front of Su Yang, his eyes flickered with an otherworldly light, and his aura exploded to an immense level. Boom! The black dragon axe and the black scorpion collided with each other, causing a shock wave that pushed everyone around them away and covered the place with dust and dirt. A few moments later, when the dust settled and the people there were able to see their figures again, they were all shocked by the result of their collusion. Impossible!" Xianxia exclaimed as he stared at Su Yang with wide eyes. Forget about overpowering Su Yang, he didn't even manage to push him back even after using that much strength. It was almost like he'd struck an immovable mountain with his bare fists. Xianxia slowly walked backwards, distancing himself from Su Yang, who merely stood there with a calm expression. "Was that your strongest attack? It appears that I have overestimated your strength." Su Yang spoke with a mocking smile. "I do not know what little trick you'd use to block my move, but I am willing to bet that you have used all of your strength just now, and that you will not be able to block another one of my attacks. Die for me." She tightly gripped the black dragon axe and rushed at Su Yang again, but with an even stronger aura around him. However, just like his previous attempt, Su Yang easily blocked his attack with a mysterious power that he cannot fathom. It felt like he was fighting a one that he cannot break. "I do not believe that you can keep defending," She roared, and his muscles grew larger and bulkier. His arms were almost as big as his head at this point, and his body was emitting a fearsome aura that was filled with killing intent. A moment later, he pounced at Su Yang again. Mountain-severing strike. She cleaved the black dragon axe with all of his might, and the axe made a sound that resembled a dragon's roar. However, Su Yang did not move this time. In fact, he stood there defenselessly, almost like he was intending on taking the strike with his body. Ha ha ha! Did he finally use up all of his strength and cannot lift even a finger now? Although the Lion Tribe warriors were shocked when Su Yang blocked two of their chief's attacks just now despite the disparity between their cultivation bases, and felt a bit nervous for the future, they laughed with relief when Su Yang stopped moving. However, the laughter stopped a moment later when She also stopped moving. He was only a few steps away from Su Yang, yet he suddenly stopped advancing and stood there stiffly, almost like he's turned into a statue. "Looks like it's finally taking effect," Su Yang said as he slowly walked to stand in front of Xianxia. "Wow, what have you done to me?" Xianxia squeezed these words out of his mouth as he was having difficulties breathing, like there was something clogged inside his throat. "It's simple, really." Su Yang pointed to Xianxia's left abdomen, where a tiny 1-inch cut existed. This insignificant injury that would normally not even be considered a scratch for Xianxia had somehow rendered him unmovable and powerless. "My black scorpion is coated with a deadly poison that is strong enough to kill cultivators at the heavenly spirit realm even with a small scratch like that. It happened during your first strike at me, and it's finally taking effect now. Very soon, the poison will spread throughout your body, spoil your blood, dissolve your bones, before finally destroying your body from inside out." Su Yang spoke in a gentle voice as he paced around Xianxia's body that was beginning to turn black. "Since you are at the peak of the heavenly spirit realm and have a strong body because of the spiritual meat you have consumed throughout your life, you will have a few more minutes to live before the poison kills you." Su Yang stood before Xianxia again and stared at him in the eyes with a serious expression. "In these few minutes, I will have you watch helplessly as I slaughter your tribesmen." You monster," Xianxia growled in a low voice, trying to suppress the pain in his body that was growing increasingly more painful. Su Yang ignored his words and turned to look at the Lion Tribe's people, all of whom were staring at him with a horrified expression on their faces. "The chief has lost. Run away before he slaughters all of us." The Lion Tribe began scrambling about. All they had in their minds at this moment was to escape from Su Yang, whose presence was even scarier than the goddess Qiyu. However, before they could even make it outside of the boar tribe, Su Yang used 9 astral steps to follow and slaughter them. "Ah! Chief," she screamed in pain and sorrow as he watched his men fall lifelessly onto the ground. Not only did he have to deal with the pain from the poison that was quickly destroying his body, but he also had to deal with the pain of losing his tribesmen. It was a feeling that nobody there could imagine. Where did this monster come from? Chief Long watched the scene from above with a horrified face. Chapter 445 Black Dragon Axe. It's over for the lion tribe. They won't be of use to the dragon tribe anymore. Chief Long sighed inwardly. He then glanced at Su Yang, feeling perplexed. This young man, he's obviously related to the goddess, but what is their relationship? As much as Chief Long wanted to dive into the action and protect the lion tribe, Keyu's divine presence beside him prevented him from moving even an inch. "Ah, spare me. Please, I will do anything you want." The lion tribe's people begged for Su Yang's mercy, but alas, he ignored all of their screaming like they ignored the pleas from the dozens of tribes they have destroyed. And by the time Su Yang finished killing the last person from the lion tribe, Chief Shi's entire body was nearly covered in black, looking like he'd been burned in hell's fire. "Don't worry, I won't go out of my way to kill the rest of your people currently inside the lion tribe." Chief Shi stared at Su Yang in the eyes, his gaze filled with hatred, grief, and regret. "Why are you doing this?" Chief Shi used the last drop of energy in his body to ask him. "Why, Su Yang calmly spoke with a smile on his face. "It's simple because someone requested for my help, and my nature does not allow me to ignore a cry for help from a beautiful lady, especially when there are tears in her eyes." Chief Shi's eyes widened with shock and disbelief. He cannot believe that Su Yang's reason for slaughtering an entire tribe was merely to satisfy a woman. "Ag!" Chief Shi suddenly screamed, before coughing a mouthful of black blood and collapsing on the floor. After Chief Shi died, Su Yang casually yanked the black dragon axe out of Chief Shi's hands and tossed it into his storage ring. However, before he could move, a figure descended from the sky and landed right before him. "Excuse me, young man, but I believe that axe belongs to the dragon tribe. I'd appreciate it if you could return it to us," Chief Long said to him with a friendly expression. Su Yang slowly turned around and looked at Chief Long in the eyes and spoke. "Are you certain about that? If the axe belongs to the dragon tribe, then why was it in the hands of the lion tribe, the chief, no less?" Chief Long's eyebrows twitched upon hearing Su Yang's words, and he spoke. "Yes, because I was the one who lent him the black dragon axe. Please, it's an irreplaceable treasure for the dragon tribe." "It's unfortunate that your friend had lost such a valuable treasure," Su Yang said. "Next time, don't lend things that you cannot afford to lose to others, especially if they are not the trustworthy kind." Chief Long was speechless. The only reason he had lent Chief Shi the black dragon axe is because he was certain that he could retrieve it with ease. But alas, not even he could expect that someone like Su Yang would appear in this place and time to blatantly steal the black dragon axe right before his presence. However, with that being said, he truly cannot lose the black dragon axe, the dragon tribe's heritage, much less to a stranger like Su Yang, even if he has to take some risks. Chief Long then turned to look at Qiyu, who was his only hope to retrieve the black dragon axe, and spoke. "Goddess, although I do not know your relationship with this young man, he has blatantly stolen something important from the dragon tribe. Can you please do something about this?" After a moment of silence, Qiyu responded with a calm expression. "I won't intervene with your business. I thought that I have already made this very clear." Chief Long's eyes widened with surprise. Does this mean she wouldn't intervene even if he tries to get the black dragon axe back from Su Yang by force? Aren't they companions? He then turned to look at Su Yang, who was also looking at him with a mysterious smile on his face. "It appears that I have received approval to retrieve my black dragon axe from you by the goddess," said Chief Long. "This is your only warning. You may be exceptionally talented and even manage to defeat Chief Shi, but you are not my match. I just killed someone with the same cultivation base as you. What makes you think that you can do any better than him? Although I am also at the peak of the heavenly spirit realm just like Chief Shi, our abilities are not even close to being equal, so it's best if you do not underestimate me by comparing me to that weakling Chief Shi." Chief Long spoke as he released his cultivation base, causing an immense aura to appear. I guess you are slightly better than him. However, if you want to even have a chance to take the weapon back, you'll need to be at least a sovereign." Su Yang could feel an invisible pressure trying to push him to the ground, but he remained calm and stood there without even budging an inch. "You talk big for someone who only managed to kill Chief Shi because of your little tricks. Now that I know about the poison coated in that weapon, you will need more than that to defeat me," Chief Long said with a confident grin on his face. "Is that so?" Su Yang looked at the black scorpion in his hands. A moment later, Su Yang retrieved his storage ring and stored the black scorpion inside, dumbfounding Chief Long and the people there. "What trick are you trying to pull this time?" Chief Long frowned. "There is no trick here. Since you claim that I cannot defeat you without the black scorpion, I am going to defeat you without it." Su Yang responded with a calm expression. "Ha ha ha." Chief Long couldn't help but laugh at Su Yang's arrogance. "That arrogance will be the death of you," Chief Long shouted before suddenly rushing forward. Chapter 446 Ancient Movement Technique, Bloody Dragon Claws. Chief Long rushed at Su Yang with his hands made into a claw, and a sinister red aura emitted from his fingers. Su Yang's eyebrows twitched upon seeing this aura. He could sense a dangerous feeling in this technique, and his instincts told him to avoid it. Thus, he immediately used 9 astral steps to distance himself from Chief Long. A second after Su Yang jumped away, Chief Long's claws struck at where Su Yang just stood, causing the earth to melt in an ugly fashion. If such an attack had landed on Su Yang's skin, it would probably melt away instantly. "Poison, huh?" Su Yang quickly recognized the nature of Chief Long's attack. It was no wonder why Chief Long was acting so confident just now, even after witnessing the black scorpion's deadly poison. "Just like your dagger, my poison techniques can kill anyone below the sovereign spirit realm with ease. It does not matter if you are a genius or a monster. If you touch my poison, you will die." Chief Long spoke with a grin on his face. Su Yang remained silent. "Father, can you deal with him? If not, I can kill him for you." Keyu's voice suddenly resounded in Su Yang's head. He turned to look at her, who wore a subtle but worrying expression on her peerless face. "Don't worry. His poison is useless if he cannot touch me," said Su Yang using spiritual sense. He then turned to look at Chief Long and smiled. "Now that your element of surprise is gone, what will you do? As long as I avoid your strikes, you will never be able to defeat me. But can you keep avoiding them?" Chief Long rushed at Su Yang again while brandishing his claws at him as though they were swords. "Are you even trying to hit me? You should put more effort into it, or you won't even catch my clothes," said Su Yang as he casually avoids all of Chief Long's attacks. A few minutes of chasing later, Chief Long is still having difficulties hitting Su Yang, who was as slippery as an eel. The people watching this were dumbfounded. It felt like they were watching 2 people playing tag rather than 2 people fighting. "Gee, what an annoying movement technique." Chief Long snickered as he desperately tried to match with Su Yang's speed. However, despite the vast difference in their cultivation base, Chief Long was unable to rival Su Yang's speed that was faster than even the wind. "It's fine. Even if I cannot catch him, my spiritual energy limit is much higher than his. He will exhaust his spiritual energy before I am even close to running out," Chief Long thought to himself. Upon seeing the confident grin on Chief Long's face, Su Yang could easily guess what he was thinking and spoke. If you are thinking that you can simply wait for me to exhaust my spiritual energy, then I will have to disappoint you, since I have enough spiritual energy stored up to keep dodging like this for days without rest. What? Impossible. As if I'd fall for such a trick. Even if you have more power than me, there's simply no way that someone at the third level of the heavenly spirit realm could have more spiritual energy than someone at the peak of the heavenly spirit realm. Chief Long sneered. Not even a child would fall for this obvious lie. You don't have to believe me, since you will have to accept it later. In fact, why don't we speed up a little bit? Su Yang's leg movement suddenly changed, and his speed nearly doubled instantly. What? Chief Long stopped chasing after Su Yang after seeing his ridiculous speed, which left not even a shadow behind. He felt like he was trying to catch a lightning bolt. As a mortal, it was simply impossible. What kind of movement technique is that? Even Yu was surprised by Su Yang's new movements. Although they looked similar to the 9 astral steps, it was more profound and advanced. Although it may appear to be a different movement technique, he's actually still using the 9 astral steps, you know. Tang Lingxi suddenly appeared beside Yu and said, "Senior sister, what do you mean by that? Has he been using a fake technique all along? This is supposed to be a secret that only those who have learned the technique can know, but since I consider you my family, I will let you know. The 9 astral step is known to be a single technique, but in reality there are 9 movement techniques hidden within," said Tang Lingxi. The 9 astral step is an ancient movement technique that existed even before the primordial era, and as its name suggests, consists of 9 levels of movement techniques, each stronger and faster than the next. Su Yang has only been using the first movement technique up to this point due to his lack of cultivation base, and now that he's reached the heavenly spirit realm, he can finally use the second step of the technique. After hearing Tang Lingxi's explanation, Yu couldn't help but exclaim with a shocked voice, "If the second step is already this fast, just how fast is the 9th step?" Tang Lingxi smiled and said, "In my case, when I use the 9th step, I can traverse from star to star in the blink of an eye. It can even defy the laws of space and time and travel through the void almost like the dimension rift." Yu was speechless. As one would have expected from the Usura god clan, one of the strongest powers in all of 4 divine heavens. Not only are their people ridiculously powerful, but so are the techniques they practice. "What are you, a damn cockroach? Stop running away and fight me like a real warrior." Chief Long was beginning to get irritated and tired of Su Yang's antics. At this rate, he will run out of energy before retrieving the black dragon axe. "If you are telling me to just stand there and let you touch me with poison, then I will have to decline your offer," Su Yang responded a moment later. "Then you leave me with no other choice." Chief Long suddenly stopped chasing after Su Yang and turned to look in a certain direction before running in that direction. Qin Liangyu was baffled when Chief Long suddenly looked at her with a malicious gaze. "Let's see if you save this young lady while dodging my attack." Chief Long shouted as his poisoned claws approached the dazed Qin Liangyu. Chapter 447, I've got you now. "Where the hell do you think you are going?" When Chief Long suddenly switched targets to Qin Liangyu, Su Yang's eyes flickered with killing intent, and he used the second level of 9 astral step to appear behind Chief Long in the blink of an eye. However, a wide grin appeared on Chief Long's face as she suddenly turned around to face Su Yang, almost like he'd been waiting for this exact moment. "I've got you now." Chief Long pounced his claws at Su Yang with extreme speed, arriving at Su Yang's face before faster than one can blink his eyes. "Su Yang!" Kiyu's heart expanded to its maximum with anxiety upon seeing this, and she began flying at them in hopes that she could make it in time to protect him. However, someone grabbed onto her shoulders and forced her to stop before she could move very far. Kyu turned around to see Tang Lingxi, who calmly shook her head. "Calm down, junior sister. Do you think this is his first time fighting or something? He'll be fine." Kyu looked a bit dazed for a moment. She then turned around to watch the situation again. Kyu's eyes widened with shock when she saw the scene. A moment ago, Chief Long had attempted to trick Su Yang into lowering his guard by suddenly targeting Qin Liangyu, before turning around to attack him. But now that she's looking at the situation again, Su Yang was perfectly fine. As for Chief Long, he stood there with a terrified expression, and the arm that was an inch away from Su Yang's handsome face had suddenly been separated from his body and landed a few meters away. It looked like Chief Long's arm had been severed by something sharp, something like a sword. However, Su Yang's hands were empty, so it was impossible that he'd been struck by a sword. What did you do to me?" Chief Long coughed up a mouthful of blood before he began swaying backward. "Did you really think that I would fall for something so basic?" Su Yang stared directly into Chief Long's eyes, who felt like he was as naked as an open book before Su Yang's sharp gazes. "And I don't need a weapon to kill someone like you. My hands are just enough," Su Yang continued. "I was playing with you just now, since you are partially responsible for the Lion tribe's actions today, and I was prepared to return to you the Black Dragon axe after some time, but you had to go ahead and do something as stupid as targeting Chief Qin." Although his hands were empty, they lingered with sword qi. The place was dead silent, and the people from the Boar tribe were all staring at Su Yang as though he was the god of war. Please, spare my life. I won't ask you to return the Black Dragon axe anymore." Chief Long trembled in fear. Even though Su Yang's cultivation base is significantly lower than his own, the difference in their strength and techniques were worlds apart. It felt like he was fighting with someone who has countless years more experience than himself. "Don't worry, I never intended to kill you in the first place. I also know why you are targeting the Boar tribe, so let me tell you this: the thing you are looking for is no longer with the Boar tribe since it's in my hands now. Of course, you are always welcome to try and take it from me like the Black Dragon axe." Chief Long's eyes widened again, but he didn't say anything, as he was speechless. "There's no longer any reason why you should come near the Boar tribe again. I can't guarantee that you will leave with your life the next time you come here. Am I making myself clear?" Su Yang spoke to Chief Long in a commanding voice, leaving no opportunity for him to refuse. I understand." Chief Long nodded his head in a stiff movement. "Good, then get out of my sight." After saying those words, Su Yang turned around and no longer paid attention to Chief Long, who quickly scurried away from the Boar tribe. "Are you okay?" Su Yang approached Qin Liangyu with a smile on his face afterward. "Why, yes." Qin Liangyu slowly nodded her head with a dazed expression. "It's unfortunate that I was unable to save everyone from the Boar tribe. I'm sorry," Su Yang said as he looked at the surroundings. The Boar tribe was littered with corpses as of this moment. While the majority of them belonged to the Lion tribe, there were many fallen warriors from the Boar tribe's side, too. "No. You have done nothing that would require you to apologize, Senior Su. If not for you, there would have been far more casualties. Thank you for saving the Boar tribe." Qin Liangyu suddenly got onto her knees and kowtowed to him. When the other tribesmen saw their chief's action, they also knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Su Yang, thanking him in silence. "Stand up. Although the war is over, there's still work to be done here." Qin Liangyu then stood up and spoke in a loud voice. "We are going to clean this place up." "Yes, Chief." Sometime later, Kyu and Tang Lingxi approached Su Yang. "Are you okay, Su Yang?" Kyu asked him. "I am fine, stop lying," Tang Ling suddenly interrupted. "You used celestial qi during both of your fights. Although you may appear fine on the outside, I can tell that you are actually exhausted." "Really?" Kyu was dumbfounded. It's no wonder why he was able to overpower two peak heavenly spirit realm experts with such ease. Su Yang showed a smile and said, "I really can't hide anything from you, Lingxi. Indeed, I feel a little tired, but besides feeling sleepy, I am really fine. I want to adapt to the celestial qi in my body, so I have been training with it. Don't push yourself too hard. It's not easy to control celestial qi, and that's true even for me," Tang Lingxi said. "I won't." Before he could even finish his words, his vision blackened. Su Yang. His sudden collapse greatly startled Qiyu, and she immediately went to catch his falling body. "Relax, junior sister. He's only sleeping. He'll be fine after a few days of rest," Tang Lingxi said to her, relieving her of her worries. Chapter 448 Recruiting Bed Partners. What happened to him? Is he injured? Qin Liangyu rushed to Qiyu when she saw Su Yang collapsing into her arms. "He'll be fine after some rest," Tang Lingxi explained to her like she did to Qiyu. "Though he will need to replenish his spiritual energy after he wakes up, or it might harm his body later." "Something to replenish his spiritual energy, right? I will gather as much as spirit meat or spiritual herbs for him." Qin Liangyu spoke with enthusiasm. She had been waiting for an opportunity to be helpful to him for once. However, Tang Lingxi waved her hand and said in a calm voice, "Although ordinary resources will suffice, it's not the most effective, and you will need a lot to replenish the vast amount of profound qi inside him." Qin Liangyu raised her eyebrows in a puzzled manner. "Then what would you suggest, Senior Tang? We only have spirit meat and medicine," she then asked. "Do you know what dual cultivation is?" Tang Lingxi asked her. "No, I do not." Qin Liangyu shook her head. Meanwhile, Qiyu looked at Tang Lingxi with wide eyes. "Are you telling her to cultivate with him? You won't mind it?" Qiyu couldn't help but ask Tang Lingxi, who did not seem like the type to share things, especially when it comes to her own man. "If I were in the position to pick myself, I would rather be the one to cultivate with him. However, I am in Hong Yuer's body, and I had promised her that I wouldn't defy it. As for you, unless you don't mind dying after cultivating with him, then you can go ahead and replenish his profound qi. You also know about the Sacred Moon Palace's curse." Qiyu was surprised, as even she wasn't aware of it until Su Yang told her. "Of course. I know almost everything about the Sacred Moon Palace, and that includes the curse that enslaves its own people, forcing them to marry people from the same bloodline. And to be honest with you, I have always disliked the Sacred Moon Palace and its people. There were even times where I wanted to wipe them out." Qiyu was speechless. To think the Sacred Moon Palace was on the verge of destruction multiple times without being aware. "However, I don't dislike you since you are very different from the rest of the Moon clan. Unlike those cold and emotionless bastards, you're cute, passionate, and my junior sister." Qiyu immediately blushed after hearing such words, even lowering her head slightly to hide the redness on her face. Anyway, Tang Lingxi returned to Qin Liangyu and continued to speak. "Dual cultivation is when two people of the opposite sex share body warmth and their special qi with each other. In other words, you're sleeping with each other." That's... Qin Liangyu was baffled after learning what kind of practice dual cultivation was. Does this mean Tang Lingxi wanted someone to have sex with Su Yang? This is the kind of situation that one would normally never expect. Even if it's for Senior Su, I can't do that. After all, I am still a virgin, and I am only allowed to give my body to whoever will become the next chief of the Boer tribe. Furthermore, even without that rule that has existed for hundreds of years, I am not worthy to be doing such acts with someone as excellent as Senior Su." Qin Liangyu began to panic. The only reason Qin Liangyu's position as chief of the Boer tribe is only temporary and not permanent is that only men are allowed to be the chief. And if the previous chief only has a daughter, that daughter will give her body to whoever will become the next chief. and that person is usually the strongest warrior in the tribe. Currently, in the Boer tribe, the best candidate for becoming the next chief was Lebao, who is not only loyal to the tribe but also their strongest warrior. Ignoring whether you are worthy or not to be his partner, I never specifically asked for you to help him replenish his energy. Tang Lingxi spoke with a teasing smile on her face. There are plenty of other women in this tribe, and I'm sure that some of them will be willing to assist their savior, especially when he's as handsome and strong as Su Yang. Upon hearing Tang Lingxi's words, Qin Lianyu's face instantly blew up with redness. To think she'd make the mistake of assuming that Tang Lingxi was only talking about her, that she was the only woman in this place. Qin Lianyu felt like digging a hole and burying herself at this moment. By the way, while it's not necessary, it would be more effective if his partners are virgins, since their pure yin essence is still intact. I will immediately ask around and make arrangements. Excuse me. Unable to bear her embarrassment, Qin Liangyu quickly left the scene to ask the women in the tribe for assistance. Qin Liangyu then made her way around the settlement and recruiting bed partners for Su Yang, asking if they wanted to assist him while being pleasured at the same time. What? That handsome young man needs a sleeping partner to replenish his profound qi. Of course, I am willing to assist. He saved our tribe after all. No, even if he didn't save us, I wouldn't mind giving my body to someone like him. This is the least I can do. This is not a funny joke if you are joking with me, Chief Qin. What? It's not a joke and you are serious. Of course, I will gladly be his partner. I get to share a bed with that handsome warrior who slaughtered the lion tribe all by himself. Why didn't you come to me sooner? Qin Liangyu was speechless. Although women in the southern region are all attracted to strong men, she didn't expect that it would be so easy to find people who are willing to offer their body to Su Yang. Even the maidens that have been very careful up to this point when choosing their partners did not hesitate when asked to give their pure yin essence to Su Yang, and were even delighted by such a request. Chapter 449. 30,000 sometime later, after making her way around the Boer tribe settlement and speaking with many women, Qin Liangyu finally returned to Tang Lingxi and Qiyu with over 30 beautiful women by her side. Qin Liangyu had recruited nearly all of the beauties within the Boer tribe, from the young maidens who still have their pure yin essence intact to mature women that already have partners. They all gathered there to help replenish Su Yang's profound qi. Senior Tang, I have finished gathering individuals who wish to help Senior Su. There are 32 women here, and 12 of them are still pure maidens. They are not only the most talented individuals in the tribe, but they also have the best appearances and figures. You really went out of your way, huh? Tang Lingxi was surprised to see how many women Qin Liangyu had brought back with her. You can choose any one of these women to help Senior Su, since all of them are aware of the situation and have already agreed to help. Qin Liangyu said. The 32 women there silently stared at Tang Lingxi, each hoping to be the one that Tang Lingxi chooses to be Su Yang's partner. Ever since they have witnessed Su Yang's prowess, they have been thinking how nice it would be if they could serve a man like him. But little did any one of them expect that such a dream would become a reality so quickly. Is there something wrong, Senior Tang? Qin Liangyu asked her many moments later when Tang Lingxi still stood there without choosing any of them. If they are not suitable, I will try to find more. However, before Qin Liangyu could even finish her sentence, Tang Lingxi spoke. I don't need to choose one of them. All of them can help him at once. Huh? Qin Liangyu and the women there stared at Tang Lingxi with a dumbfounded expression, and they remained dazed even many moments later. No matter how talented or how strong Su Yang may be, there's simply no way that he could handle all 32 women by himself, right? If someone really has the energy to dual cultivate with 32 women at once, he could no longer be considered as a mere man, but a beast instead. At least that is how the people from the Boer tribe saw it. Why are you looking at me like I am lying? You don't believe me that he can handle all 32 of you with ease, Tang Lingxi said to them after noticing the doubt in their stares. He has dual cultivated with numbers 10 times that amount in one go before in the past, you know. T10 times. The people there dropped their jaws after hearing such a thing. Even Qiyu couldn't help but stare at her with her eyes as wide as saucers. This is her first time hearing something like this, and it left an indescribably complicated feeling in her heart afterward. I only said 10 times because I don't want to sound crazy, since his record is actually much, much higher than that, Tang Lingxi chuckled. Anyway, if all 32 of you are willing to provide assistance, I want all of you to help him. There's no need to worry that you won't get a chance, since he will definitely not leave any women in the same room unsatisfied even if he dies. The 32 beauties exchanged glances before nodding, accepting this weird situation much faster than Qin Liangyu expected. I can't believe it. Who could have thought that someone who appears as noble and pure as Senior Su would have such a side to him? Qin Liangyu thought to herself, as she could have never imagined that such a bizarre method of cultivation would exist in this world. Good, then come back here in 3 days. He should be awake by then, Tang Lingxi said to them, and she continued, in the meantime, you should clean your body, organize your appearance, and prepare your heart. It's going to be an experience you'll never forget for the rest of your lives. Tang Lingxi spoke with a mysterious smile on her face, causing the 32 women to tremble. Once the 32 women left, Qiyu asked Tang Lingxi, what you said just now, is it true? What would you do if it was? Tang Lingxi looked at her with a nonchalant expression. Su Yang, he rarely tells me anything about himself. I just want to know more about him, even if that information is not something I'd like to hear. Qiyu spoke with a solemn expression. Despite their relationship, Su Yang has never spoken to her about his past, so she knows almost nothing about him besides the secret relationship he had with her mother. Hearing Qiyu's words and seeing her face, Tang Lingxi smiled and spoke. Su Yang, there was this one time when he was invited to a sect as a guest lecturer. One thing led to another, and he somehow ended up cultivating with nearly every female disciple in that sect. What? Qiyu's eyes popped out from shock. But Tang Lingxi was not finished. I forgot to mention this, but this sect only accepted female cultivators, so he essentially slept with the entire sect, which had over 30,000 disciples at the time. 30,000 disciples. Qiyu staggered from shock, looking like a single breath from a mortal child could cause her to collapse. It's a bit funny talking about it now, but at that time the incident brought Su Yang a lot of trouble, and he nearly stopped being a dual cultivator afterward. Tang Lingxi chuckled. And after Su Yang left that sect, he disappeared for 10 whole years. If I had to guess, he probably slept like a baby the entire time to recover his energy. See, can I ask what was the name of this sect? Qiyu asked her later. Past tense. This place still exists even today. In fact, they are even one of the top sects within the 4 divine heavens, the Heaven's Sacred Garden. Wait, what? Heaven's Sacred Garden? Impossible. I was supposed to become a disciple at that place if I hadn't run away from the Sacred Moon Palace. Qiyu began to sweat profusely. Oh, Tang Lingxi looked at her with a surprised look. But that place has a flawless reputation. I have never heard of such an incident in that place, and there's no way that such a massive event did not go down in history with the whole world knowing it. Qiyu was in disbelief. I don't know what to say besides that they have found a way to cover this incident and swept it under the rug. In fact, if Su Yang didn't tell me about it, even I would not have known about this story. It happened over 20,000 years ago, too. You unbelievable, to think he would have had such an experience. Qiyu wiped the sweat from her forehead. Trust me, if this story is shocking for you, he has plenty more stories that will directly knock your eyes out of its sockets if you heard them. If you ask him, I'm sure that he wouldn't mind telling you one or two stories. However, if you continue acting so reserved towards him, you will never truly understand him." Hearing Tang Lingxi's words, Ku silently nodded. Chapter 450 32 Cultivation Partners 18 plus a little over 3 days have passed ever since Su Yang collapsed after using celestial qi to defeat 2 heavenly spirit realm cultivators. When he reopened his eyes, Tang Lingxi was casually sipping tea beside him. "You're finally awake." Tang Lingxi quickly noticed his presence and placed the tea down. "It's been 3 days since you collapsed." "I see. I'm sorry if I made you worry." Su Yang sat up on the bed with a headache and a feeling of weakness in his body. Perhaps he'd overused the celestial qi in his body a little too much, hence this backlash. "Anyway, you are lacking profound qi, right? I have already prepared for you a recovery method to replenish your profound qi." "Oh, what do you have prepared for me?" he asked her. Tang Lingxi then turned around to look at the exit and spoke loudly. "You can come inside now, ladies." The next moment, the 32 women that had agreed to become Su Yang's partners entered the hut, and it quickly crowded the place. "This is..." Su Yang looked at them with wide eyes. These women all wore revealing clothes that barely covered their erotic areas, and they had a bashful expression on their faces. If he had to guess why these beauties were standing before him with such seductive appearances, they were definitely there to replenish his profound qi. What's the meaning of this? Although he had a pretty good grasp of the situation, he decided to ask them anyway. "When these women here heard that you were injured and required assistance, they gladly agreed to offer their body to help you recover. I would actually prefer it if I personally help you, but as you already know, my situation does not allow it." After a moment of silence, Su Yang asked 32 women there, "Are you sure that you want to do this? Although I greatly appreciate you being here, you don't really have to do this. We want to do this, Savior. Please, allow us to do at least this much for you who saved our tribe and the lives within. Even if you didn't save our tribe, I would be willing to be your partner, Savior." The 32 women there began to express their feelings to Su Yang until he nodded with a smile. "I understand. I will cultivate with you girls. However, this place is a little bit too small and cramped to fit all of us comfortably," said Su Yang as he looked around the hut. "You don't have to worry about that since you will be cultivating elsewhere. We have already prepared a hut with enough room to fit all 33 of you comfortably." Tang Lingxi said. "Then what are we waiting for? Lead the way." Su Yang quickly stood up from the bed. The headache he had just moments ago had seemingly disappeared, and the weakness in his body became filled with energy. Sometime later, Su Yang and his 32 partners transferred from the small hut to one that was 3 times larger. At glance, it was obvious that the hut had been created in a hurry, so it did not look as elegant as the existing ones. However, the interior of the place was extremely clean and simple. The lighting was not too bright nor too dark. It was perfectly dim. There was also a sweet fragrance inside the hut, making the already calm atmosphere even more pleasant. In the middle of the room, there was a large bed that was made of wood from the nearby trees, and multiple large blankets stuffed with soft feathers covered the bed. At this size, it could even fit 50 people with ease. Su Yang nodded with a pleased expression. While the place appeared to be simple and cheap, it had a certain wild feeling in the atmosphere that could not be replicated in the Eastern continent. "I will now leave all of you alone. Have fun," Tang Lingxi said to them before leaving Su Yang alone with 32 women in the hut. "Before we start, why don't you girls introduce yourselves? I like to know a little bit about my partners before we cultivate." "I will start with the introduction. My name is Su Yang, and I want you to address me as such when we cultivate. That means there will be no savior or anything of that sort while we are inside this place." The 32 women there nodded in acknowledgement before they proceeded to introduce themselves. Sometime later, when Su Yang became aware of the names of all 32 women, they began cultivating. "Who wants to be first?" Su Yang asked them once they began. A few seconds later, a petite girl with short black hair stepped forward. "I will be the first to assist you, Su Yang," said the young lady as she loosened the straps on her shoulders, allowing her one-piece clothing to slide down her slender body. Su Yang also removed his clothes, revealing his well-tuned body, jade-like skin, and his fully erected penis. So big! The girls gasped in shock when they saw the beast for the first time. Not even the experienced women there have seen such a large monster before, and of course, none of them expected that he would have such a large package hidden underneath his robes this entire time. "Come over here." Su Yang invited the young girl with an enchanting smile and open arms. The young lady nodded with a bashful smile and slowly approached him. Once she was close enough, Su Yang grabbed her hand and pulled her petite body into his embrace. "Since this is your first time, I want you to get used to the feeling first." "How did you know?" The girl was surprised, as she does not recall ever telling him that she was a virgin. "I just do," Su Yang said with a smile. He then laid her body on the bed before sliding his fingers down her smooth skin until it reached her slit and caressed it like a baby. "Ah!" The young maiden immediately felt a shock circulate throughout her body, causing it to tremble. "Relax your body and enjoy it." Su Yang mumbled in a gentle voice as his lips approached the exotic flower between the maiden's legs, licking the delicious sap that was trickling from her vagina. "Oh tilde, ah! Tilde," the young maiden moaned loudly, feeling a heavenly sensation that she could not describe, allowing it to dominate her body without any resistance. When the other 31 women saw the young maiden's blissful expression as Su Yang savored her body, they began getting impatient. Their body temperature and sexual desires soared, and they even began panting. Their cultivation session has only just begun, yet all of them couldn't wait until it was their turn to experience whatever that young maiden was feeling with Su Yang. Meanwhile, outside the hut, Qin Liangyu guarded the scene. She wanted to make sure that nobody could disturb whatever was happening inside the hut, even at the cost of her life. However, when she started hearing sounds of pleasure coming from inside the hut, her mind was instantly overwhelmed by her own imaginations. Soon, she even began feeling a tingly sensation coming from the lower area of her body. "If only I wasn't born as the chief's daughter, perhaps I might be inside with the others right now," she sighed inwardly.